All right, everybody, welcome to Thursday Night Forum. We are back and we have big news. Well, I think you've heard the news by now if you're an Arsenal fan and you're not hiding under a rock. Welcome, everybody. Well, Arsenal fan circle here. Pull up a chair. You're all welcome. All that stuff, right? Hey, Stan, how we doing?
Yeah, not bad.
I mean, we had a
Hold on.
few technical difficulties. I gotta apologize to all the viewers. BX Gunner, I hope you're still with us. It looks like he was about to leave us, but we overcame the technical difficulties. We are here, Thursday Night Forum, and let's get into it, Stan.
Yeah, so just before we start, it's been quite a week for losing a couple of icons.
Three of them, yeah.
So we've already well at the beginning of the week lost
Malcolm. Malcolm Jamal
Malcolm.
Warner, Theo from the Cosby Show, right?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, I forgot about him.
Yeah.
Yeah, from the Cosby
Yeah.
Show. But Ozzy Osbourne,
Yeah.
and also
Now,
Hulkster.
Terry the Hulkster.
Yeah,
Yeah, larger than life. It's crazy, isn't it, how that happens? Here, what's the message? Here one day, gone the next.
yeah. So quite a
You know,
quite a quite a quite a week.
quite a week. Yeah,
Just Josie and the Pussycats has joined us.
block is here. All right, let's get through. BX Center said, "I'm about to go back to watching Fantastic Four. I didn't hear Fantastic Four. I heard it's not all that. It's not that great. You know what I mean?
It just come out.
Uh, uh, I didn't hear some good things about it, but anyway, don't let me be the person who's going to influence you about that. Maybe Gary's looking for the link. I'm not sure. BX Gunner. Stan, how do I DM you? I have Instagram, Facebook. Can send it to Tom or Gary.
Yeah, I don't have that.
I sent Gary the link. If you're talking about Gary, Glock 9 is here. Yeah, listen, it's been a long time, Stan. We've been waiting a long time. You were giving them till you gave them a deadline of Wednesday night, or else move on to Ollie Watkins, right?
Yeah, I just think it was just dragging on. It was it was just dragging on too much
Yeah.
for me, and I didn't see. I just felt like, well, if they can't come to an agreement, I just felt that they were better off going for a safer bet. Because for me, you know, I'm glad that we've signed Viktor-ee, but I still think that until we see what he's like after 15 games, the jury's out. And I'm going to speak a little bit more about that in a bit more detail once we get going.
Once we get going, once we get into the season, you know, I don't think we'll have the opportunity.
I meant tonight. Once we get going tonight.
Oh, okay. Because my mind is racing back to Dennis Bergkamp and Thierry Henry, and it took them a number of games with Arsenal before they registered their first goal. You know, so you know, people, Arsenal fans, probably expecting the Gyökeres will hit the ground running, score at Old Trafford. You know, we win 3-0, and he's going to score 6 goals in the first 5 games. It may not exactly go that way, you know, but it has been a long time. And Sporting, the president of Sporting, made things very, very difficult in the negotiation. The breakdown, the things we were hearing about, Stan, was the breakdown of the extra bonuses, the little bit extra, the add-ons, right?
Yeah. I was just getting a little bit impatient. I was just like, well, the boys have already gone over to start pre-season. And for me, I just felt that if it's a case of cutting a check for an extra 1.5 million to 2 million, whatever it may be, depending on what the currency is, I would just think to me that, with a season that is so important to us, it would be better off to just cut that check and make sure he's on the plane and doesn't miss out any pre-season. Because the last thing I want to hear when the season gets going, if he isn't doing what he's supposed to do, is, well, we've got to give him a chance. Another excuse. He didn't have a pre-season, so he's still settling in. For me, that is the most important thing. If it means cutting a check for whoever they did that, because at the end of the season, if we're lifting trophies and the big ones, no one's going to look back and say, "Oh, we paid $1.5 million too much." It's not even going to be.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to be mentioned.
Yeah. And the thing that I've been talking about the last season or two is that preseason almost runs into the season itself now. Do you know what I mean? I don't know how many games I meant to check earlier, how many games we have. I noticed at North London Derby in Singapore on Sunday. We've just had a game against AC Milan. There's probably not too many more games to lead up to the game at Old Trafford. So and I think it's a lot of football, right? We're having a lot of football. The players are playing a lot, 11 months out of the year, maybe 12 months out of the year. They get 2-3 weeks off, and we're getting football saturation, and the players are not fit when the season starts proper.
Well, I'm just looking at the schedule, and it says that the next fixture that we have is July the 27th. No, sorry.
Yeah, you're probably right.
The next fixture that we have is July the 27th, which is Newcastle.
Right.
Then we've got July the 31st, which is Tottenham.
Okay.
And then we have August the 6th, which is Villarreal. And that's back in the UK. Maybe that's part of the Emirates Cup.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we also have an August the 9th Emirates Cup with Atletico. And then the season starts on the 17th of the first game at Old Trafford.
Yeah. So we probably have about 5 games to get some kind of fitness into the legs, get the players ready, get a pattern of play, or get some of these players accustomed to the pattern of play that Mikel Arteta wants to implement. Possibly implement some new passing phases or some new. I hope it's not new set piece tactics, but it could well be all of that stuff. You know what I mean? The Arsenal is getting weaponized for this season.
I mean, overall, just looking at this signing, it's a signing that we wanted for that position. Whether it be Sesko, which was the one that we were linked with for so long, and then switching to Gyökeres. We've made our choice now. But I just have, for me, I want him to do well, obviously. He's an Arsenal player. But I do have concerns that a striker coming from the Premier League, there's been a lot of players that have come from Portugal that have done well. But if you look at the striking position, which I have been doing, there's been a lot of failures. A lot. I mean, I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I can think of 8 strikers. I've got them all ready to go with their stats and everything. and as you can see, if I go into them magnificently well in the Portuguese league, they've just not been able to cut it in the Premier League.
You argue they've struggled, and you may argue that Gyökeres may struggle as well. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, the first one that comes to mind for me is Darwin Núñez.
Most immediate one.
And in his last season, he scored in 26 goals in 28 games with 4 assists.
Yep.
And since he's been at Liverpool, his best season was 23-24, where he got 8 assists in 36 games.
Yeah. Not great.
The season after that, which is the one that just closed, in 30 games, 5 goals and 2 assists. And you could probably have a striker that would score more than 11 goals in 36 games. And they probably thought they were buying someone who could do better numbers than that. Otherwise, they probably wouldn't have paid upwards of, excuse me, 80 million euros, right?
Yeah.
I mean, another one that comes to mind is Jackson Martinez, who we were linked with many seasons ago. You know, and he had a fantastic season in when he was playing for Porto. So he scored 21 goals in 30 games. To Spain, and in 15 games he scores 2 goals. And then he went over to I think it was in China, Guangzhou, Japanese club, 10 games, four goals. You know, and he's not even playing anymore, right? He's retired from football. He doesn't play anymore.
Yeah.
You know, and I found a few others. You know, there's another guy here called Mehdi Taremi, who, when he was at Rio AVE, I don't know if that's short for something. It's 18 goals in 18 goals in 30 games, 2 goals in 33 games. But then he goes off to Inter and scores 1 goal in 12 games. He's now playing in Iran, and in Iran, in 15 matches, he's scored 10. You know,
Yeah.
there's another one here. You know, Bas Dost, 15 goals in 22 appearances in his last main season for playing for Porto, and then he goes over to Eintracht Frankfurt, and he couldn't cut it. He was there for 2 seasons. He then went to Club Bruges. Since he's left, is 12 goals in 26 games in the Belgian league, of the league as well, right?
Yeah, of course. But I would contend, and we'll get Gary involved in this conversation shortly. I would contend that you had.
Sorry, Gary. All right, Gary. I was looking at another page. How are you? So
Good.
yeah, we're just saying, Gary, talking about the Gyökeres deal, and obviously I'm saying that I'm really glad that he's come in. You know, he's the one that we wanted, and we finally got him. But I'm my only worry of strikers that have left the Portuguese league and gone on to other leagues, not necessarily the Premier League, but Spain, other places, Italy, been able to cut it. And now, granted, maybe wingers and midfielders have, but strikers, which is what we're talking. You know, I was doing a lot of them. You know, I found 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I was just none of them. You know, they've all had a really good season in Portugal, and then they've gone they've gone elsewhere in leagues maybe not as even good as the Premier League, and they've just not. Some of them have struggled to even crack double figures. So it is a concern of mine, and what worries me the most is that, you know, when other clubs buy busts, they get swept under the carpet. You know, no one really says anything. But if it happens to us, it's going to be used as a huge whipping stick. You know, that we've wasted our money on this player. So I'm just concerned, and I'm going to give him a chance, and I'm going to set a threshold of about maybe 10 to 15 games. Hopefully, he can end the 10 games. You know, it's like you don't have to go to 15. This guy, I'm willing to go to 15 games for this guy to show me what he can do. And I don't want to say like I'm being negative or I'm trying to say that we bought the wrong guy. Not at all. But I am concerned that it seems like strikers that come from the Portuguese league don't seem to probably get the time and space to do what it is that they do in other leagues, especially won't get that in the Premier League, you know, and it's a concern of mine. I'm frightened that we're going to get ridiculed for buying a striker that's going to struggle to maybe hit 10 goals.
Yeah, it's a risk no matter who we brought in. It's always going to be a risk. You know, you bring in Isak. You know, he's not really had serious injury issues, but you know, knowing Arsenal, he could have serious injury issues.
Mhm.
Osman, does it is he going to be worth all the money that we need to pay for him to bring him over, right? And then like if he doesn't even come
What
close
about
to,
Ollie Watkins
and
though?
yeah,
Ollie
Ollie
Watkins, we know he can
Watkins,
get
yeah, yeah, yeah.
15 to 20. I reckon he could get. You know
I,
what I
I,
mean? He knows the league. He'll have better players. If he can get 15 at Villa, I reckon he can get at least that to 20 with us. Surely.
yeah. I mean, the thing is with Watkins, we can still get him. I mean, it's not a we can still get him if we need it, if we wanted to. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
We can still get him. It's not beyond the realms that we can't get him. And I know for me, I know as a player that we're looking at seriously, we could get both of them
Yeah.
still if we needed to make sure
Agree?
we had the depth. Yeah, yeah,
Gary,
yeah.
you
That's
got
I reckon for those two, you're looking at about 120, right? 60 each, I'd say, because they wouldn't take
Mm,
40 for Watkins when we
wow.
went to them the first time. They're going to want
I
more than
think
that, right? They didn't take it.
What's it's another 6 months since then, so I would say it's not going to be 60. I don't think it's going to be
45,
60.
something like that.
Okay, all
Yeah,
Somewhere.
right.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
let's
we're
say
talking about
I think the 60 was because
100.
one we were trying to get him in January.
Yeah.
I would have paid the 60 in January because that's what you pay premium in January, right?
Yep.
You don't pay. That's not the same price you get in the summer when he's half a year older. So for me, I would expect it to be less than that. If it's 100, a little over 100 for both of them, then I think that's what we need because we need. I need. I was on a show today, and I'm like, we need to have the same sort of depth on our front line as we do on our back line, right? On our back line,
Yeah.
we don't have any questions about mostly anybody who comes off the bench and goes in, right? But that front line, we like got it. If start over again to some degree, except for
We're
Saka,
seeing
right?
positive comments from BX Gunner and Red John. Red John says Jokers will bag 20 goals without penalties. He will
Yeah.
finish the tap ins that the donkey hadn't
Mm,
or can't. And BX said, I think he's going to do very well in this league. His mentality is right. Physically, he's great and he's clinical. He knows
yeah.
how to do his role and he just entered into his prime, Gary.
Yeah, I
So,
mean, he's taken money out of his pocket to come in. I mean, his agent's taking money out of his pocket to come in. They're vested in this thing. So, and yeah, I understand the league isn't the same, but when there's like comparisons, meaning in the Champions League and in the international game, he's shown up really well in that as well. So I get the Portuguese league as one option, one thing that we can look at. But you look at him in Champions League, you look at him in when he plays for his country, where
yep,
everybody plays. I mean, he's playing beside Isak and he's doing better than Isak,
yep,
right? So is he not showing up there? So I kind of feel like, and you've seen the body of work we've played against, and we know like we saw what happened when we brought in Curio late in that game. He basically was like it's like blood, like fishing, like blood in the water. That was when he finally opened up, and that's going to be a lot of the teams that he's going to play are going to be closer to Kyrior than they are going to be to Saliba and Gabriel. All right, I
yep,
mean we've got two of the top center backs in in the league, right? Not
yep,
everybody has that. So like for like at least 50% of the game, if not 70% of the games, he's not playing that level of defense anyway. So and our team, once again, our team is set up really good. If you can get 15 out of Kai Havertz, I think you can get close. You can get 15 out of Eucharist, especially if we one play like we have a striker, all right? Meaning that he'll be in the box more when Saka's turning and making sure he gets the ball into the box. You're gonna have a Eucharist there to maybe put it
target.
away to put away a shot, or if there's a deflection or anything, he's there to clean it up and put it away. So I kind of feel like he's going to get the opportunities. The game is going to be a little bit different, but I think that's what we need. We need that. You saw what happened in the if you saw the preseason game, those guys still don't want to get in the box when Saka has the ball out wide. He's still crossing in. And you're like,
Yeah,
where are these guys? Nobody
it's
wants to be. No, Eucharist
Gyökeres.
is. I believe his role will be to be in that box
Yeah,
when that ball comes across.
to
Like when
be
Saka gets the ball, it's not like Saka is getting the ball and then kicking it right away. Saka is holding the ball up as long as he can and making space and then attacking and then putting a cross in. We still don't have people there to meet the ball when it comes in. Eucharist, he's
yeah,
there. He's going to be ball hungry and goal hungry, and that's what we want. So I mean,
yeah.
I
We need to
I
stop it.
think. Yeah. Yeah.
He's going to have to then
Yeah.
change his style of play because that's not how he plays. He
Well,
tends to
there's
start
got to
off
be
on
a
the left.
compromise.
He likes to run into
Yeah.
the space with the ball.
Yeah.
If his job is to be merchant, is what you're saying, be ready to get on him. I can see why he's going to have to change his game and not, get wedded to that left side and not be in the box when he's,
Yeah,
when we want
I
him to
think
be. So it's going to be interesting. I really hope he does
Yeah.
well. I really do.
Mikael is going to have to use his assets and adapt the way we play a little bit to suit his assets as well.
Yeah, we have to change our way. We can't like the striker that works for him is a Jesus when he's healthy. Well, we're not ever going to get that. So basically that like playing to our style of striker doesn't make it. No, we're going to have to definitely change to a striker a legitimate striker and where he be positioned on the pitch. So for me, I think Arteta's going to have to change his ways, and I think he brought in I think that Hansi guy, and he's going to probably be a little bit more, hopefully a little bit more
Heinze,
influential
Gabriel
and
Heinze.
Heinz, and he'll be a little bit more
Gabriel
hopefully
Heinze.
influential in how we change our ways a little bit. But yeah, you don't bring in Eucharist and then go, we'll just do the same thing we've always done. It doesn't make any sense.
No,
Whatever striker we bring in, it won't be what we've been doing in the past anyways. Think
it'll
about
be
it.
better.
We
Yeah,
don't play that way anyway. So you bring in Isak, you're gonna have to play a different way. You bring in Osman, you're gonna play a different way. You
yeah.
have a better player up top. You're gonna have to. There's gonna be some compromise between the two, right?
I
Arteta's gonna have to kind of lay off the "well, I want you to track back" kind of thing, and the striker's gonna have to be able to handle those type of situations where they're in the box with tons of people around them and still finish.
Yeah, this Arsenal edition would look different with Isak, as you said. It
Mhm.
would look different if it was Mbuemo in there. It would look different if it was Osman. And it's going to look different with Gyökeres in there. Stefan said Gyökeres could be the final bit of the jigsaw that Arsenal really needed last season. The tip of the arrow, the point of the spear, and in Thierry Henry's words, this building, this house is really tall right now, and it could be the spire at the top of the building. Um, this Arsenal building is really tall right now. Thierry Henry famously said that. We have been building to this
I
point.
think
Go ahead, Stan.
the other thing that I'm really interested as the season gets going is to see how Kai Havertz is going to be utilised. It seems to me that Mikel Arteta really likes him as a player, and he was doing quite well for us as a striker until he got the injury, right?
Oh, yeah.
He's been doing okay. And you do the eye test, there are some opportunities he misses, but if you look at the number, he does chip in with a fair amount of goals. What's he going to do when we get Gyökeres? Gyökeres, if Gyökeres doesn't hit the ground running, the manager's going to be ready to put Kai in.
Yeah.
If Gyökeres does hit the ground running, right, is Kai going to be on the bench and be coming
Yeah.
on, in the second half of
We-
the game
we-
to give him a breather, or is he going to be utilised in the
We
midfield?
mentioned.
Is he going to play at the same time
I hope it's not the
as
midfield.
Gyökeres?
Yeah, I hope it's not.
To squeeze him in. Do you know what I'm getting at? Mikel feels out. Well, I've got. If I'm going to play Gyökeres, I still don't want to leave Kai out.
Well,
He's on 290 odd quid a week. Had good money for him, so I'm going to shoo him into the midfield. How he's going to handle that? If he's going to have the balls, so to speak, to make the right decision at the right
this
time.
is something that Mikel Arteta is going to have to fine tune his managerial skills with again. We got to go to a situation with John Duran and Ollie Watkins earlier in the season where they were splitting 90
even
minutes between them.
What Red John is just saying now, I don't know if he means could we play a formation at times where we have Havertz playing as a second striker as opposed to a midfielder, which then means someone else is going to be taken out of the team. Someone else will have to go.
I have it in my notes.
Probably
I
one
have
of
it in my
the
notes.
midfielders.
We could see 4-4-2 even. We could see a 4-4-1-1
Yeah,
But
Well,
then we lose a
that's
midfielder,
not
right?
gonna that's not gonna be our primary, and I don't think Kai's gonna be part of our primary 11 to start.
I agree. I
So
agree with
so
you.
I get like Arteta's gonna have to be inventive when we need to. Like for example, if he's gonna have to rest a midfielder, maybe he does bring Kai in and we change things up a little bit so they can both play together. But in my eyes, he's not part of our starting 11. Like to
Hmm.
start the season, we like right now, our front
Really?
line for me would be Saka, Gyökeres, and hopefully it's Eze or whatever left wing we bring in.
Yep.
That's how I would.
Madueke?
I'm sorry,
Awesome.
I just told you who it was, and I don't remember that name being part of the three.
Would you?
Maybe you missed what I said.
Let me rephrase it then. Right.
Uh,
Let's say it's a choice. Because Eze's not been done, Rodrigo's not been done, nobody else has been. No Xavi Simon. So let's say the window's shut now, and
Yeah.
then the choice on the left hand side is either Trossard, Martinelli, or Madueke, and we've got Saka playing on the right.
Everything you
What
said
would you go for?
after the window's closed and nothing's changed.
What would you go
No,
for
for
out of
me,
those three?
for me,
Out of those three,
Martinelli.
I know Arteta's going to want to try
really?
Madueke. I know Arteta's going to want to do that. I think that's what Arteta's going to want to do. I mean,
Yeah.
he's played on that side, but
What would you do, Gary?
that what that's not where he's played predominantly. Can he play there? Probably. Play. You keep talking about putting players in positions and they don't play at, and then wondering why they might struggle, right?
I mean,
Like
for us,
we need a left wing to come in or a player at what I believe Eze's level to come in and play. If he's going to play out of position, I'd rather have Eze play out of position than Madueke. Okay,
yeah,
I
I'd
mean,
like to see
quality player.
someone on the left hand side where Martinelli is now fighting for that spot. I don't want Martinelli. I don't want someone to be the backup to Martinelli. I want someone to come in
Yeah, but
that's better than
I
Martinelli.
will.
So that when he does come onto the pitch, he works harder. He tries to fight for his place. That's what I want to see. And I'm not sure if
Am I
Madueke is
wrong?
that player.
Yeah, am I wrong in thinking that Martinelli is still better than Madueke?
I think they offer different things, and maybe we'll get something different out of Madueke. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? I think that's
yeah.
the thing. I think people look at all the stats and say, "Well, the stats are the same." But for me, if we looked at
Well,
things and if things worked out that way, that would mean when Kai Havertz came to Arsenal, his stats he would have been in that same realm of getting between 6 to 8 goals a season, right? And that
yeah.
didn't happen. So I kind of felt like one, we are a better team. So whatever struggles he's had and all that kind of stuff, he's going to be playing in a more structured team in a better setup, and he'll probably be put in situations where he'll be able to succeed. And that's kind of what I'm hoping for with him. So
We
yeah, no, I think the fact that we are a better team, he'll play, he'll play better. He'll seem better just because of everything around him.
we've come to
But
go ahead, Stan. What have we got?
I'm agreeing with a couple of the boys in the chat. Like, it's going to be interesting because are we at the stage then? Maybe we're at the stage where we do have players, north of 200 a week that are bench players and are fighting for a place, or has to play. So, Gyökeres, I would imagine, is going to be on around about 200. I would imagine.
Supposedly, I
To
saw
make
something
it
that
worth his while.
We are.
so
We're.
I
We.
here's the thing. You're thinking these players are coming in earning all this money. They're not. Guess what? Their salaries before they came in aren't anywhere near what like. The highest paid strikers to come in would have been an Isak or an Osman. Really, everybody else wouldn't be making as much. Maybe Watkins does because he's been there for a while. But like, if you look at it,
I was on 290,
Zubimendi's not even
295.
make. I think Zubimendi's not even making 100 or something like that, based on the way
Like
it's
he's
set up.
not.
So So I don't think these players are making high salaries right now. Their salaries have increased because they've joined, but I don't think they're making, the 200 that we're thinking about. I saw something that said that he'll make about 150, and part of that will go to the money that he's giving back to the squad or the agent fees or whatever. So I think we're getting good money. Get as far as the salaries, we're not taxed there, and that's good because that means we can bring in some more players. Like that's why Rodri is not out of it's slim, but it's still an option for us if it plays out. Suppose he wants to come to Arsenal, so you know
Hmm.
what?
That'd be big money, wouldn't it? He
That's
wouldn't Kai Havertz money
yeah,
at
and that's
least. He
what
wouldn't
we
that
we
money.
need. Like you can think about it. You have Saka. Gyökeres is one of the better strikers available out there in the place, and then you need a left wing that's comfortable in stature and in talent, all of that. Rodri's an easy answer there. Not
Your
too
your vo- your, your voice is going to be muffled,
Might have
Gary.
been
I don't.
Rodrigo's the answer to that. Is that what you said?
Yes, is it still going on? Going
That's better.
No,
okay.
better.
No, that's
All right.
better.
So maybe it's because of the mic, but I just think
That's it.
Rodri would put us like we need somebody comparable to a Saka on the other side, right?
Yes.
Rodri would be that.
Yes.
Um, we know he's gonna work hard
Rodrigo.
because that's what he was doing at Real Madrid, right?
Yeah.
Everybody, there's things where he might not leave Real Madrid because they might realize that he is worth more than just the way
Well,
they've set him up and stuff.
we
So
we we obtained an Odegaard in similar fashion
yeah,
a
but
few
no,
years ago.
it's Odegaard hadn't won a Champions League in League Cups and all that stuff when we got him. This guy
Yeah,
has, and he was
fair, but
he was
if
a
the manager
contributor to
deems
that.
a player surplus to
Yeah,
requirements, we could have that
yeah,
situation
yeah.
with Rodrigo as well.
Yeah, Odegaard was more of a hot prospect when he at Madrid, whereas Rodrigo, he's done
He's
everything.
done it. Yeah.
He comes with everything.
So
A winner's medal
if
in
it
every
if it
competition.
comes down to
Do you want a World Cup?
Eze,
Do you want a World Cup?
Stan, if it comes down to Eze or Rodrigo, and Gary, if it comes down to Eze or Rodrigo, I'm kind of leaning toward the Eze myself.
Eze comes in sooner than Rodrigo. So for
Yeah.
me, get Eze in, and we're good.
And we don't have a Rodrigo then.
Well, like I said, we can still bring in another player, and that other player, if the price is right, could be like a
This
Watkins.
mad.
And we have
This summer window's mad because
yeah.
I know Arsenal sacrificed last season for this window, but if we get an Eze and another player in Rodrigo, that would be crazy. The first part of this window is bringing players in that are available, and we've done a really good job with that with Kepe, Mascara, Zubimendi. Who else is out there? Norgard, Gyökeres,
Was,
Madueke.
was the question which one I would prefer out of SA or Rodrigo?
Yes, I think I know the answer though.
Well, as much as I like SA, and I think that SA is a good footballer, Rodrigo, he's done a lot more in the game than SA has. As good as SA is, he just comes, for me, he's that kind of signing which becomes a face of the club. Not only is he good on the pitch, he becomes a face in the club. Anytime there's a poster, there's anything going on, they'll have 3 players. He'll definitely be one of those 3
Yeah.
players.
Yeah.
That will be one of the faces. I think he'd have the
Well,
kind of impact on our team same way as somebody like an Alexis Sanchez had. That sort of, that sort of flair playing of football, being able to make goals out of nothing. Even when it's in the 88th minute and you need maybe a 1 goal to either equalise or you're drawn and you want another goal to get the 3 points, he can be in. He's proven that he can do that. He's done it for Madrid, where he scored vital goals right before the whistle went, and he's the one that either got them to draw or actually get all of the points or get them through to a next round. So I'd go for Rodrigo.
okay. What was I going to say? The forward line would be mouth-watering. That it would be a Rodrigo, would be Gyökeres, and would be Saka, and players come in behind.
It's like the difference. It's the difference of driving around in, say, a really nice Range Rover with SA, really system in there, or driving around in a Lamborghini. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's the difference. It's like the Lamborghini. You get what you pay for.
Yeah, that's the first part of the window up to the start of the preseason. Now was about bringing players in, and I feel like the next month will be about opportunities that arise in the market, and we're coming into that. We'll talk a little bit about that, what's going on in these last couple of days, a little bit later in the show. Um, I guess Alexander Isak, things like that. We'll find out. We'll talk about what's going on there. But Red John said Jokeres. Let's focus in a little bit more on Jokeres and what he can do for us this season. Jokeres scored a hat trick against Man City, a hat trick last season, and has missed 0 penalties at club level during his time at Portugal. So I'm going to bring Gary into this a little bit as well, a bit more to to pull the wool on this a little bit more. Um, Gary Jokeres, he played with Coventry in the Championship for a couple of seasons. Um, you've already said that he's performed on the international stage with Sweden. I what can you say to allay Stan's not fears but concerns about
Concerns.
him not adapting to the Premier League coming into this setup?
Like I said, if you're going to look at the negatives of the league, I'm going to look at the positives of the Champions League and how he performed there, and that's where we're going to be. We're going to be back in the Champions League, so that's kind of what I'm looking at. I mean, I was gonna say you look at his body of work, right? His body of work, and it's like a strong lad, right? And
Yeah,
that's what we're looking for.
physical player, right?
I think he held his own against our center backs when we
Yes,
played them, right? Because that's all they only had him, and he had to battle two of the best out there, and he did the best he could, and not many have done well. I mean, if you think about it, Harlan's had his problems with him, so I think our team makes you look bad sometimes. So that's kind of what I've been looking at. I
yeah.
mean, I'm just looking at that opportunity there where he actually broke away, was able to break one on us, and that's him playing against our two center backs and then having to go the full 90, right? So
And the
if he's
goalkeeper at
playing it in the
fullback.
Premier
Yeah.
League against most teams, I think he'll be able to handle that to some degree. So that's
The
kind of what I'm
Premier
looking
League,
at.
and Gary, the Premier League is about consistency, and it's not about playing Manchester City or Liverpool every week. It's
Hmm.
about taking care of, dare I say, Leeds United,
Yeah,
Brentford, who may be weakened,
yeah.
Crystal Palace.
And yeah, and the
These
one
kinds of
thing
things,
also,
Gary.
like I mean, I know you talk about the way he's played because I'm like looking at some of the videos of him. The one thing I think Zubimendi will do is get that ball up the pitch sooner
Find them.
than what
Yeah,
we've done before, where we kind of sit there on the ball and just kind of slowly build up. Zubimendi will pass that ball up and get us going fast, and we'll have to get used to that, which will be totally different. And I think I'm sorry, Eucharist will be happy for that.
yeah,
We've done it, right? We've seen Kai Havertz get breakaways one-on-one with the goalkeeper, right? Now,
yeah.
if that's Eucharist doing the same thing, hopefully we're laughing, right?
There's
We're
more, a
laughing,
little bit
right?
more
And I think we don't do it
clinical.
as much with Kai Havertz because he's not used to that,
Yeah,
right? He's not comfortable doing that, and he doesn't have the I guess I don't know the
and
striker mentality and style and talent to do those types of things. But Eucharist does. So I kind of feel like what that's what we're gonna
and
that's how we're gonna have to. We talk about changing the way that we play, but I think that's what we're gonna have to do, and that's what Zubimendi offers. So then you put those two together, bang, 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 things will happen faster than our defense right now. We turn the ball over and then we sit on it.
yes,
With
we
Eucharist
get the
there and
ball. We can,
Zubimendi, he's going to
yeah,
want to get that ball out sooner,
yeah.
and that should hopefully give
And
us
can you
the
imagine
yeah.
the speed the Jokers and the physicality he's going to have over a Kai Havertz in that situation, over 5 or 10 yards? The ability to break away from that defender who's trying to come over and cover. So the ball, Zubimendi's played the ball through. Jokers has 5 or 10 yards of space to run into. He can get there a split second before Havertz would get there, a split second before the defender can cut it out, and he is able to hit a ball as well. We've seen that with his time in Portugal as well.
And in the footage that
Um,
I've seen as well, which he looks good doing it in the Portuguese league. He literally can be like a battering ram. He runs over defenders,
yeah.
and if they try and
Yep.
hold him up on the ball, he has enough strength to keep these defenders that I've seen in the Portuguese league to keep them at bay and get a shot off. And I think what it is that we're hoping is, out of 10 shots on goal, we're hoping that he can get more than 50%.
Yes,
I would back
7.
Kai Havertz to have 10 shots on goal, and I would back Kai to score maybe 5 or 6
You know,
times.
just
We're hoping
remember
that this
that.
guy's playing. We're hoping that
Just
he can
remember a
replace me.
player. Yeah,
Yeah,
like I think
yeah.
shots on goal and scoring like 40% is actually really good. Harland is doing that. Like we always talk, 50 sounds like a good. It sounds nice and all, but nobody's doing that. Not the best player.
Yeah, I
Not the
always
best
thought
player.
with Kai Havertz, he
It's
needed
Well, he
working.
was doing that
three
in
chances to
Portugal.
get 1 goal.
He was
Yeah,
doing it in
I
Portugal,
always
wasn't
thought that with Kai.
yeah.
he? I mean, his numbers in
Yeah,
Portugal are scary, man. 102
yeah.
games. Was it
Well,
98 goals?
we,
54 games from 52 games. It's scary. That is scary
we
numbers.
all accept, but yeah, we all accept coming to the Premier League. Those numbers are going to get. It's going to be a different ratio. He's going to get ratioed in a different way. Those numbers will. And if
So,
it's
okay,
two to
let me ask
one,
you. Let's ask you another question. I'll go around to you. Each one
yeah.
of you, how many goals and assists do you think he will get in the league?
Premier League, I'll go with 18 in the Premier League goals,
And assists?
and
So you talk
I'll
about goal
make it. I'll
involvements,
make
right?
it. I'll make it 6. I'll make it 6 assists. So 24 is an easy number to remember. 18 and
24
6
goal involvements.
goal involvements. Yeah,
Okay.
in 38 games, guys, Premier League.
Let's say he's starting
I was
every
gonna.
game.
I,
Let's say he start, or
I
is
was gonna say 25 GA is what I was
There
gonna
you go.
say.
It's about the same as me.
Yeah, but mostly goals for
How
the.
many goals you thinking? 17, 18,
I,
19?
I, if Kai Havertz can get me 15, there's no reason why he can't get me 20. That's what we're
Yeah,
that is
2, 3,
why we
2,
did
3,
this,
3.
right?
Yeah.
So we can get a striker in there. We put him in situations, and he's going to perform better than our current current 8 playing striker, right? Or whatever Kai Havertz is, right? False 9 or whatever. So that's what we should be expecting out of him if we do what we're supposed to do. So
BX got him in all competitions now. He's got 28, 30 goals, but that's in all competitions. We expect to
yeah,
play 60 games this season and 4 or 5 assists. Red John is thinking 22 goals, 22 Premier League goals.
yeah.
That's a nice. That's a Premier League striker right there. 22 league
Yeah,
goals.
20 goals should be achievable with this team, with the Zubamendi there, with Saka healthy, with hopefully Erdogan revitalized, or in Wary playing up to what we want, and whatever that left wing is, opening the game up a little bit. I mean, there's reasons to expect that. That's what we need. That's what we should be building for. So, yeah.
Red John has said Jokers was the best striker we could have signed. If he flops, there's nobody else better. Arteta or Berta
So if I tell you mine,
could have signed.
I'll
What?
tell you mine then.
Yeah.
And it's just because I'm really. I think he's not going to get any more than 12. I
Stan,
think,
come on.
and
Yeah.
maybe 4 assists.
Yeah, no.
Stan, I know what Stan's doing. He wants to be surprised. You're gonna set the bar low.
I'm gonna go like that in a minute.
That
I'm gonna do this in a minute, and it'll be Tony.
yeah, that's disappointing if that's what if you think he's only worthy of getting 12, then that's disappointing in how you
Those are
evaluated him.
Darwin Nunes.
I think he's a much better player than that. I think you're I think you're looking at him like he's not that good of a player, which it sounds like you
I
are,
have looked at
right?
so many strikers, right? I've got 8 of them up that have played in the Portuguese league and scored big numbers. Big numbers.
Well,
And
Stan,
then they've
a lot.
gone off to play in
Listen,
other leagues, not even the Premier League. They've gone off to play in like other
yeah,
leagues,
but
like
a lot of those were Portuguese.
Belgium or whatever, and struggled.
All right, we have a few good
Strikers.
ones. We have a few good ones.
Darwin Nunes. Do you remember before he went to Liverpool?
Yeah.
And we were talking
You were
before that
talking
window.
about
We were
it, yeah.
talking about and we were talking about strikers or someone we'd like to buy. And I was saying, have you seen this guy in Portugal, Darwin Nunes? He's banging them away. And I remember I might have even been DX in the chat going, yeah, man, Darwin. Someone was like, Darwin Nunes, yeah, he's banging them away.
Yeah.
And then what happens?
Yeah.
I'm worried that
Crickets.
that's going to happen. I'm just worried about that.
Well,
He found
Because then if you
that
say
real-
that, then now you might as well you're going to be worried about Zubamendi as well, then, right?
Joker is better than Darwin Nunes.
No, I'm not.
Well, why?
I'm not.
Why? He's
He's
tiny.
right.
He's a tiny guy. How's he going to hold up in the
Tell you
Premier
what.
League?
Physicality.
You've not
He's
seen him
coming
play in
from
the Premier League either. Have you
He's
seen him
coming
at
from
Real
one of the five
Sociedad?
top
Do you
leagues.
see how he played there?
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why I'm more confident. I don't know how he's going to do, but I'm more confident.
I feel
He's
like
coming from one of the top,
we're
and
talking.
I've seen him play
So,
international games, and he's made contributions. I've noticed him
What do you
in
think? What do
international
you
games.
think Gyökeres did
So
internationally, and what he did in the
I just have a
Champions
concern.
League? Like,
I hope I'm
how
wrong.
can you look at
I
Zubimendi
hope
and say,
I'm wrong.
I can look at his international game, I can look at his Champions League
I hope
game,
I'm
and
wrong.
then look at Gyökeres and go, I don't see it. And they're doing similar things
It's
both
because
in
I know
comparable
why.
leagues.
I've seen it
Yeah,
happen so many times in
yeah.
that position.
Like I said,
The evidence. I'm saying there's a good case for it. The evidence is there.
you were thinking the same thing
Jackson,
about Kai Havertz
Jackson
too, right?
Martinez.
When Kai Havertz came in,
Jackson
I assume you were
Martinez is
thinking the
probably
same thing, right?
well,
Right?
no. Kai Havertz.
No,
You're
you were
right.
thinking Kai Havertz was going to ball out when he
no,
showed up. Is
I
that
what
what you
didn't.
happened
thought?
with Kai
No,
Havertz is
with Kai
we
Havertz,
were
it was
happy.
similar. With Kai Havertz,
Yeah.
it was like obviously what he was doing for Chelsea that last season was like bad. Like
7
he falling off a
goals.
cliff,
Yeah,
and there was that Chelsea thing going on. I didn't want him because he was coming from Chelsea
yeah.
again, but he's proven me wrong. I think he's very injured last season. He would have got
And
a lot more goals. I think he's settling in
yeah,
nicely, but I just have this concern about. I'm worried. I don't want it to be right. I'm not saying this is what I think is going to happen.
Stan,
It's in the back of my
Stan,
mind that
Gary,
after the about him, he's a flat track bully. That's what. That's a good description. He's got a lot of good attributes, but he's not going to. You know, there's time and the space. Some of the
well, look,
defenders, he's not
BX says here, Stan.
going
Look,
to, some of the defenders are going to be a little bit more cuter with marking him and their runs that they choose. That he might not get what he wants.
BX said
That's
here
all.
below, Stan.
We'll see.
We've never signed someone this prolific. It's quite shocking and refreshing that Arsenal have chosen Gyökeres over Sesko. That was the main.
I bet they thought that at Liverpool when they sold the same things. Can't believe it. Look
What?
how prolific this guy is. The
I
chances
know,
that
but
he takes is that in his conversion things. They must have been saying the same things about Jackson Martinez, and they must have been saying the same things about Viktor-ee. They must have been saying the same things about Bas Dost. They must have been saying the same things about Oscar Cardozo. They must have been saying the same things
well,
about Harris
what you're
Seferovic,
doing is
and
how,
another big
how
one
far
is
back
Hulk.
are you going?
So,
Hulk, Brazilian player,
here's another
Hulk.
thing that you. Here's
Hulk.
another thing that you have
Remember
to.
him?
Here's another thing you have to keep in mind, though,
Yeah.
right?
The
Darwin Núñez.
evidence is
Darwin
there.
Núñez had 1 year. 1 year of
Well done.
brilliance. One year of
Red John.
brilliance, right?
Red John. Stan sounds like he rates in Kenya.
Yeah.
According to your
No.
evidence.
Núñez had 1 year of brilliance, right? You're basing his downfall off of he only had 1 year where he went from 6 goals to 26,
Yes.
and then he dropped off when he came to Liverpool. Gyökeres has had back-to-back years of just sustained greatness. Yeah, in a similar league, yes. So you're saying that
Very
it
high
doesn't
level.
matter. It doesn't matter. But we've shown that he's consistent there,
50
right?
goals.
So I like I
It's
said,
a
I
worry. It's
I-
just a concern.
yeah.
I-
Yeah.
just-
No,
I'm not saying that this
I
is
get
not
it, but
gonna happen. I don't want it
but
to
you're not
happen.
using the same. To some degree, I don't feel like you're using the same logic on for Zubimendi, who has the same concerns. I think has the same concerns for us.
I just think that
Right.
he's more. For me,
Yeah.
he's more. Why I don't have as many concerns with Zubimendi is because he's more established in a better league, and I've heard a lot of people that when he's talked about on shows or whatever by people in the game, out of the game or whatever, they really talk highly of this guy, Martin Zubimendi, and that gives me a lot of faith. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying that I know he's going to. Yeah.
Red John.
There's the
I didn't-
same.
I didn't
I
watch
bet
this
you the
game.
same people talking about Gyökeres as well.
All right, let's keep it moving. Well, we have registered tonight that Stan has concerns about Gyökeres, and hopefully through the season we can allay those concerns. We get to the halfway point in the season. He's got 9 goals in the Premier League, let's say. Red John, yeah, nobody going to talk about how we strengthened Chelsea by buying Madueke. We gave them the money for Xavi Simons. There's lots of things happening. Liverpool, if teams buy Nunez, Diaz, and Chiesa, it's going to give Liverpool the money maybe to go and get Isak. We'll talk about that a little bit later. That's crazy. Um, but Gary and Stan, I'll go to Gary first and then Stan. Isn't it encouraging though that Joker has always wanted Arsenal?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see any difference between that and what happened with Worth. Players that they at some point just said, "I want this team," and that's it, and then that basically made it easy to negotiate,
Yeah.
right? It's like the same thing's happening with Isak if he gets his way, right? Right now, it sounds like he's saying, "I want Liverpool."
Yes.
So I think that's the one thing that you've seen from I think the way Bert has worked is that he's gonna I guess play two positions, two players, two prospects against each other, and then see which one plays out. You know, one player wanted a release clause, right?
Yeah.
The other
Yeah.
player wanted Arsenal and was going to do whatever to get there. And we keep talking about let's get a player who wants Arsenal. Well, we got one. We got one. He wants to come here. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was, supposedly, when players want to come here, you do what you can. Like he's done all he can to get here, right? I mean,
He's tried to force.
like you hear it all the time. People are like, if he really wants to go there, why don't he just like sit out or whatever? This guy did that. He did that, right? Some people say that's bad, but then they want players to do that. Well, he really wanted to come, so
Welcome to the club.
I think he's going to show up. He's going to show up, and
Yeah.
hopefully show out.
I think he's going to show up with that physicality, Stan. He's gonna shoulder defenders off the ball. He's going to make things uncomfortable for them, like they did for Gabriel and Saliba in that Champions League game. Scored a hat trick against Man City in the Champions League as well. Let's not forget. And I think Saliba and Gabriel would have come off the field and said, that's a player, a high level player playing in a decent team, a good team, but not a great team at Sporting, and that he met his mark against Arsenal in the Champions League. He made it uncomfortable for our players. I think he'll translate it to the Premier League. Will it be 50 goals, a 50
Well,
goal season? No, but it could be a 20-goal season.
I wanted to address your question that Gary also touched on about how the player really wanted to come to Arsenal. And it's great. It's great that a player can be vocal and show that turn down other clubs and make it known that he's only got his eyes with one club. But the one thing in this whole Gyökeres transfer saga that left a bad taste in my mouth was, personally, I would have preferred it if he didn't go on strike. I would have preferred it if he had, voiced that he wanted to come to Arsenal, make it known through channels. But I would have preferred it if he had returned for training and he had honoured the contract that he's still under by a club that's paying him his wage. I don't like all this. Like, do you know what I mean? For me, it's about perception.
Right.
And he's shown that he can be someone that if he's not getting what he wants, that he's prepared to take it to the extreme.
This is his one.
And is that going to be something that in another situation, whether it's about minutes, that he's going to be, he might not want to toe the line, because
I don't think so.
I think the measures that he took were quite extreme. They were like,
I don't think so. This was his one
strike.
Well,
But he basically, but he was under contract still.
yeah, but
He's still he's still in a job. He's still being paid. You can still go to work. Go to work. You can still make it known that you want this move, and you can still have your agent talking to your club and saying, look, he wants this move.
well, maybe he was in contact with Arsenal. But Stan, maybe he was in contact with Arsenal, in contact with his agent.
Yeah, but for me,
Maybe it was a coordinated effort to move.
I just don't like all of that.
Well,
I just prefer it to be a little bit more of the perception and
the
clean.
Sporting president.
Do you remember when
The president of Sporting is not very.
Do you feel the same way, right? When Stefan Schwarz went on strike for Arsenal, was you right about that? Do you remember that? Good player.
I didn't really.
Good player. Wanted to move. Funny enough, wasn't he the same nationality as well? Swedish as well. He wanted to move, and Arsenal were talking to him and blah blah. He went on strike. I didn't like that. I thought it was a bad look. A bad look. You can have talks and stuff, but okay, you might not get picked because your head's been turned, but come to work. Fulfill your obligations, do your training.
Yeah, but
You know what I mean? Show a
I
little bit of
suppose
class.
I
If you, I
feel
hear you, I hear you saying that,
You
but
know what I
like
mean?
supposedly teams will then shut you out if they feel like your head's turned. So then they're not doing what they need to do, right? They're obligated to try to
Yeah,
win
but you
games.
still
And then you know what the
you
team
still
did?
do
The
your
team
bit.
said, you know what? I don't want you to be here because you look like you're interested in going somewhere else. And
Then
then
that's their call. Then you don't
I,
go
I,
there. But
I
you
so
don't
he
turn your
it was
back
his
away.
it was his call not to
Moaning and
go because
sick.
you know what he thought he had a gentleman's agreement. He thought he had a team that was going to back him, and they didn't want to back him anymore. I understand why, but you know what? He was essentially not necessarily
I
lied
just think
to,
it's
but
a bad look.
the rules changed on him. So
I
you know
mean,
what?
think about it though. It's just one
I just
big
think it's a bad look.
career move. It's one big career move to go to the Premier League, a big Premier League club, and as a striker, you think
He's also
you're looking at Arsenal thinking, I can get them over the hump. I can get them
he's also a
somewhere
bit
in
of, he's
Europe.
also a bit of an idiot for taking a gentleman's agreement. Just get that on paper, man. This is a professional business,
Yeah,
right? Fucking
yeah.
what they do, like
Fair,
gentleman's agreement over a glass of scotch. Do me a favour.
fair enough. I would think that Gyökeres might take the number 14, which is available, and Eze is interested in the number 10 that Emil Smith Rowe has vacated. Um, so, they are big numbers in the club as well, in the history of the club. Dennis Bergkamp, Thierry Henry, players of that ilk. I don't think we can link.
I still think that we should not. We shouldn't give the 10 to anyone because it's cursed. That number 10 shirt is cursed. After Dennis Bergkamp, we went to William Gallas, right? And every other player that's worn that number 10 shirt has never either not fulfilled
I-
It's gotta
their potential,
it's gotta get
bad
broken at
injuries,
some point,
or
right?
they've been
Maybe it'll get
shit,
broken this time.
or they've
Right?
been really shit. Burn it.
Yeah.
Burn that fucking thing. Seriously. It's a curse. Look what it did to Jack Wilshere.
Yeah,
Almost killed him.
Jack Welch. Yeah, I mean,
That number.
we need a good run with the number
No.
10.
We need to break the curse, dude.
Break
You know,
the
you know what?
curse,
The
man.
same curse,
No.
the same curse that doesn't have us winning these
Break
big
that
trophies in a
curse.
long time or ever needs to be broken. The only way it's going to
Well,
happen is if you continue business as usual. So
I
I
will.
hear what you're saying, but you actually said it right.
Gallas
At some
is
point, that number 10 blessed a top gooner, right? A top Arsenal player of all time, right? So why can't it do that again? You're saying
John
you're right.
Hartson.
You're saying all that mystique is gone. It'll never come back ever in your lifetime. You don't know that.
that top's bewitched. It's
You
bewitched.
don't know that.
Gallas
I think
bewitched it.
John Paul Merson had the
You
10.
don't know that. You're scared. I get it. But at some point, it's going to have to break.
Or the next player that gets the number 10 shirt, before they play, we have to get people from the Vatican over and perform an exorcism.
Oh, Stan.
There's something wrong with that shirt.
Yeah. Listen, I hope that maybe it is an essay.
In a perfect world, I love Odegaard to have the 10. In a perfect world, actually should have the 10, right?
In a perfect world.
He's not playing
Yeah.
like a 10 at the moment, but he should have the 10. But it's cursed.
So just to round off on Gyökeres, anyway, I'm sure we'll be talking about him through the season. But for him to pick Arsenal over Amorim at Manchester United at the beginning of the window, we worried if there would be a Manchester United connection, a former coach connection with Amorim at Manchester United. We wondered if it would be Sesko or be Leipzig. And Berta, do you, Gary? We've had a little while now of seeing Berta in action. Do you like his approach of bringing two players to the point of you know being ready to do the deal?
I think we've been asking for that, right? We've been asking for a plan B in everything that we've done. We wanted a plan B in how we brought in players. We wanted a plan B in regards to how we play. So this is what we want. Like, what's the point? Like, if there are two players out there of equal quality that you can bring in, why not look at and see which one you can get for the better deal? All right.
Yeah.
Like we always like, and Berta has shown that he can manage multiple things, much less multiple players for the same position, and essentially hopefully get what he wanted. And if he picks right, he just gets the player and he moves on. All right. So I kind of feel like this is what we wanted. Berta, like, and I think we won't even see the full Berta until he's been here and established himself for a bit, right? Like some of the little moves that he's made, like some people are saying, why did he re-sign Sambi, and that's to maintain some of his value, right? We've been devaluing our players because one, we let them their contracts run out. He's like, no, we're not probably going to do that anymore. A lot of players, the players that have left, were going to probably weren't. He didn't really have much control over those, but the ones he does, you're seeing that he's trying to manage and have control their value to some degree, so he gets something back, right? So I kind of felt like, yeah, it's not gonna. We're not gonna see the entire thing yet because he's gonna see him through, building this team up, and then the next step is whatever we need to do next in regards to either players getting old, injured, or just needing to upgrade, and we'll see how he does there. But I kind of feel like, yeah, he is known for being a really good director of football, right?
Yeah.
So we gotta let him cook, man. You gotta let him work,
Yeah.
and
So
then let him figure this thing out. I don't. I
generally,
still. I mean, I'm like everybody else. I still have concerns. The Madueke deal is why we can't. We might not be able to do other deals, but I don't think it. They're saying it's not has nothing to do with any of the Eze deal can still happen regardless. The other players we might need to sell even more players to bring them in, but I don't understand the Madueke deal at all. I kind of felt like.
problem. The
If
problem.
Madueke deal meant we can't get Rodrigo, then I'll be upset.
Yeah. The
That's the kind
problem
of
is
thing.
there's so many players out there, Gary. We all want them, and no,
Yeah. No, but
no
I'm like,
Arsenal
for what
fan says
Madueke brings,
Madueke.
right? Can you not tell me there's another player out there that can bring
Yeah.
close to that?
Yeah.
That like maybe that is for me. I mean, he has this is the same thing. He has like all these talents that he brings, and if we can tap into that, if Arteta can tap into that, then we'll be okay. You
Yeah.
know, he like
It's all. It's always
he
like
likes to
that.
shoot, so we know we're gonna have to worry about that. That's the one thing we don't have with some of our players. Their eagerness to take a shot is like they're like waiting for an invitation. It's like no,
Yeah.
he's gonna shoot.
Yeah.
So
It's always like that. The club Arteta is it's maybe subjective when you want to target a player. So there's always a player that comes in, and the fans say Madueke. I would never have picked Madueke in a month of Sundays, you know, and you're always thinking, well, that's 52 or a portion of 52 million being expended in this one window when we could. Is that going to affect us getting another player? You know, uh, it's crazy. But as fans, now we have to support the guy who wears the shirt. So he's our player. We hope that he does the best for us when he comes on. And it's going to be interesting. It's going to be fun, actually, because I'll go to Stan next. It's been quite predictable where our players have been, where we target the players where they're going to play. It's been very predictable. If we bring in Eze and we bring in Madueke, we're not very sure about where they're going to line out, where they're going to place them.
Well, you think of Eze, he can either play in an Odegaard kind of role or on the left, right?
Yeah,
And I think Madueke is a right winger who can also play on the left.
but it's going to
So
be interesting, right?
there's variety. There's variety.
Yeah.
But I mean, we've not actually made any kind of a bid yet for Eze. So I think it remains to be seen if there is another player coming in, who it might be.
Mm.
They're talking about Eze, Rodrigo, or Xavi Simons.
Yeah.
Or maybe there's someone else that we don't even know about. But I mean,
I've heard Anthony Gordon in
I
the
just, I
past.
just
But
don't.
I don't want to give Newcastle money.
Yeah, but Anthony Gordon is basically similar numbers as Martinelli. I don't see an upgrade. Yeah, I see something which is kind of like the same as what we have. But do we still have €100 spare to sit down at the table to have chats with Rodrigo? Because that's what they want, €100, which is what's that, 80
Yeah.
million
Yeah.
in English money, maybe something like that. But do you think Liverpool waited and waited and waited until they knew that the Gyökeres deal had gone through before they then made it known that they were going to go and speak to Isak? Because now, remember, we always said if there's a deal to be done for Isak, we should at least be at that table.
But if he sold Arsenal like he sold,
Liverpool
but if he
now,
sold other teams that he's not interested, then they
Yeah.
move on. So
Yeah.
if you're thinking he made this move after that, he could have waited as
I
well.
think of Liverpool,
He
not
could have just as well said
player.
I don't want Arsenal, I want Liverpool. Right? That's what Worth did, and that was then they only had to negotiate with just just the one team.
Yeah, it's becoming more and more like that.
So for me, I kind of feel like
Isak did say he wanted Arsenal at one point, didn't he? First of all, he said that he wouldn't leave Newcastle if they got the Champions League. They got the Champions League. Then he said that he'd like to play for Arsenal, wear the 14 shirt. Now we don't get a chance to sit at the table now because we've spent most. We've gone with Gyökeres,
and maybe
right?
he said, "I don't
Now
want
he's like,
Arsenal now." He can change his mind, right, and say, "I don't want Arsenal now." So the same way he could have just like, we could have like jumped the gun, but he could have actually said, "I don't want Arsenal," and we're not waiting around for you anymore, right? Right? Arsenal's not waiting around. We have a lot of holes to fill.
Yeah.
Bucharest is supposed to fill that hole, so we shall see how that plays out. I think it'll be well. I think it'll do well, but we definitely need more support up top, right? So we need to fill those holes as well. I don't think we can wait around too long,
I'm just saying, I think Liverpool played it well. I think they waited till we were out of the way and made our stuff with Gyökeres, right? And then they knew, right, we've got a clear run at Isak. There's no way they're going to come and sit at the table.
Or once again, he said, "I just want Liverpool." Both can be true. Both
but we don't know that.
So you don't know what you just said can be true either. We're both making assumptions.
But there was a
Stan,
time
we do know that. Isak has come out in the last 48 hours and said he wants to maybe go to Liverpool. Because
he knows that we're out of the game now. Yeah. He can't come to Arsenal. We've got the money. That's off the table.
But Liverpool.
So why is he not? Yeah, he's like, his agent's like that. Liverpool are interested. He's like, I want to go to Liverpool.
Right, but
there's no one else.
Liverpool have just coming in. They just spent 89 million or something on Ekitike. And they spent 120.
That was clever as well, wasn't it?
120.
Newcastle were like, okay, if they're going to come in for Isak, maybe we should buy Ekitike. Liverpool went, I don't think so. We're going to buy him.
It doesn't make sense, though.
They bought Ekitike. That means they're not going to. They're like, hold my beer. Right? We want both of them.
It doesn't make sense.
I mean, that is bold, man.
They've spent over, 250 million right now. Without going into any money for Isak, they've spent about 250 million already.
And they're still good for PSR. They're still good for PSR.
Apparently.
They're not even close.
Now, I think there will be...
Last couple of windows, they haven't spent big, have they? They've kept their powder dry.
Well,
they've had sales. And in this... And well, in this window, they had a big turn down, didn't they?
Chiesa, probably.
Yeah, so again, if they're nowhere near PSR and they're going to get that money coming in from players like Diaz
but
and Nunes.
Neither are we.
It's frightening. It's frightening.
In that situation.
It's frightening. They've played the transfer windows over the last few seasons really well where they got to a point where they could win the league and they still had reserves to improve. They didn't do everything to win the league. Do you know what I'm getting? And they're like, well, that's it now. You've got to keep going. We got there. They're like, yeah, we kept up. Like, money to spend. Look at who they've bought. They spent all that money on Verts. Right?
Yeah.
Ekitike. They bought a right back and the left back, as in upgrades in Frimpong and Kirkett. And they're going to go and get Isak as well. I mean, should we just have the trophy parade now? Get it out and we'll get their bus out.
No.
If you think you can, if you think you win,
I'm being sarcastic.
Yeah, but so it's not. It's a moot point then, right?
Yeah.
You don't win because you win the transfer market, right? It gives them good options, and but you know what? I still don't. I think you know what? No matter what they have done, they have not got anywhere near to the levels our defense has. I'm sorry.
Had we done a little bit more last January, maybe we
got to score, Gary. We got to score goals.
That's why
now it's going to be even harder. You know what I'm getting at? That's right.
I mean, I think we struggled against them last year, and guess what? Did they beat us? They didn't even beat us last year, and we were struggling. So if we get lucky and we improve our attacking, we definitely have an opportunity to compete. So that's what we want.
Got to take Isak's injury record into account, which is about a quarter of all matches. He misses a quarter of all games over the last 3 seasons.
They'll just play Ekitike then when he's out. Do you know what I mean? They'll be like,
well, yeah, but he's not.
They're not putting on Eddie Nketiah. They're putting on Ekatike.
Well, he might be close to Eddie Nketiah. We don't know what he is yet. Now
No, you're right.
he
Yeah, he could be
No,
a
I mean
bust
there's
as well.
unknowns all across the board.
yeah.
Everybody's taking chances with every player they brought in, right? I mean, like City has been quiet, but all the players they brought in will it play out? The only teams that are bringing in Premier League teams are the teams that we know are struggling, right? Both that team and Manchester United, they've brought in what attackers that have established themselves in the league last year. Will that play out this year? We'll see, right? But in general, like like you look at all the team, look at those two teams, the players they brought in, right? Some of the top attackers in the league last year. You think they're going to get the same numbers with that team in Manchester United?
But seriously, could you imagine if Liverpool paid 150 million British pounds
Yep.
for one player
Yep.
who's had that kind of an injury record? I mean, this is a statement.
And
It's a real
300,000,
big,
Three
it's, a
hundred
real,
thousand releases.
it's
Stan,
massive, man.
under Jurgen Klopp, Stan, Liverpool were famous for living within their means. Now it's undeniable. They're spending the money. There's no such thing as
Yeah, and this isn't a case of a rich owner going, digging into his pocket and going, have that.
Yeah.
It's all been worked out. It's all the balance sheets and everything, incomings, outgoings, not doing this in that window. They've played it really right. And you've got to think, if you're a Newcastle owner, whoever said to you, get involved in buying a football team, you can make loads of money and you can have the best team just because you've got the money person now and going, why'd you get me involved? I can't spend any of this money. You know what I mean? And then some. And they're telling me that I can't buy this player unless I sell one of the best players that I just bought. So in order for me to get better, I've got to sell an Isak or a Gummy Bears. But I bought them to get better. That makes no sense. I need to build around that. So the PSI it's a weird thing, man.
yeah.
It's kind of making a weird situation in the way business is done. If you're at the stage where you can sell your women's team back to yourself and mark that as a profit, or sell a hotel back to yourself or a parking lot or any kind of a real estate, I mean, what the fuck? It's supposed to be football. I mean, you're not playing Monopoly. We're good doing that. Fucking buy the gas works, go to free parking and collect the money in the middle. I mean, it's bullshit. But if you are a Newcastle owner, you'd be like, why am I not allowed to just go and buy Pele? And they'd be like, because Pele doesn't play football anymore. You're like, oh yeah, I forgot. I don't know much about football. I'm on top well. But, why can't we sign Maradona? Like, he died. Okay, we can't. But you don't get in that. They've got the money. They're like, I thought I was supposed to come in and make this club the best thing. The money's there, but they can't spend it.
They are observing the
It
rules.
wouldn't surprise me if they fucking sold. Wouldn't surprise me if they sold and left because they're not able to play the game.
Yeah.
They're handcuffed, right? Why would you continue? You'd be like, well, this is not what I got involved for. I've got to sell the best players that I just bought in order to buy other players. That makes no sense.
Yeah. No, I mean we've got enough money to make the big deals if we need to. I mean the only reason why we can't just do it easily is because we have to. They want to make sure that the squad count is right. That's the only reason. It's not that we can't afford any of the players. We can afford them. We just have to sell players because we need to get them out the door, so we can have our squad numbers in the right order. The right count. So.
Yeah.
So I mean that's why it's possible for us to go out there and get definitely two solid attackers from here on out. I mean we have players that are sort of after, right? We know that Reece Nelson is wanted by Fulham. We know that Trossard is looking. People are looking at him. I don't know about Martinelli, but we know Kyrgios potentially.
Wasn't there something from? Wasn't there a Saudi Pro League?
Something like that, but I don't think he's going to do that, right?
He ain't going to go there, is he? He's still at that age where he wants to be picked for
like
Brazil.
Fabio,
If you go out there, that's
I mean, like think about it. Fabio Vieira, who also can, be a player that goes out the door and we get some monies for him. So,
who?
Fabio.
Who?
There's only one Fabio, man. I'm sorry.
AKA.
There's no AKA. It's just Fabio Vieira. His mom is calling him Fabio. I'm calling him Fabio.
Oh, you mean You mean
Nope, don't know.
teabag?
Don't know. Now,
Oh,
now I
teabag,
don't
yeah.
know who you're talking about.
The teabag days will be behind us very
Yes.
soon, Gary.
Hello, everybody. I don't know. You know, I haven't said hello to individually
He's
everybody, but
still going to save us.
Tiger
You wait.
Gunner is in.
Yeah.
No, I, we, like I
Teabag.
said, we've got players that know they don't have a place here. So, we'll
Yeah.
have,
Sambi
you
Lokonga.
know, Samuel Lakonga, another player
So
that he don't have a spot.
that'll be another clue and another measure
He's on
of
the floor, Sambi Lokonga.
Andrea
On the bench.
Berta.
Yeah, he didn't
What
play.
he-
Think about it. We brought in what 5 academy players. He didn't show.
So Andrea Berta will have to prove himself with outgoings as well. Be able to generate decent amount of cash
That's
for
important.
that.
That's important because that could be being able to go for an essay or a Rodrigo. If you
He's
take
not an issue.
wages off, you take all this
He's not
wages
doing
off, you get a few quid in difference.
Yeah.
But do you know what I mean? Is Chelsea going to come and help us out and take Sambi Lokonga for 30 million? I don't think so.
No.
They ain't going to return the favour.
No.
He'll end up
We
going
help other
somewhere
teams
for about 8.5 million. Some shit. Or low price. Less than double
So,
figures.
do we think this Isaac thing goes? Do you think he goes to Liverpool then, or does he get an improved contract at Newcastle, or does he go to Saudi Arabia?
He's turned down an improved contract at Newcastle, which I think was
But this
300,000.
I think it's been reported he wanted to move fast, but it's not going to move fast. Then this thing is not going to move
But
fast.
I'm just saying he has been offered a contract. What they should have done, as soon as they qualified for the Champions League and won that cup that they won,
Yeah.
which is their
Carabao.
first cup in a long time, they should have gone with a contract then, and you know what I mean. And if push come to shove, put in a release clause to safeguard themselves. But they didn't. But the players always said, well, a season or so ago, it was all about, again, gentleman's agreement. Apparently, if they don't get in the Champions League, they'll allow him to talk to people. But they are in the Champions League, and it was Arsenal. For a while, it was Arsenal, wasn't it? He wanted to come to Arsenal if he did leave. People were saying, "Oh, he's told us that Arsenal." You know what I mean? It was Arsenal.
So Stan,
But we were like,
how did
okay.
Newcastle?
Remember, we were saying that, weren't we? That's not going to happen. It's not even on the table. That's why we're looking at Sesko or Gyökeres. No, it's that. And we always said, if there was an opportunity, we should be at the table. But we can't wait around for something that we're thinking there's no opportunity. So we put our eggs in the basket. We bought Gyökeres, and then all of a sudden, Liverpool like that. Okay, now we've got a clear run. What's Isak going to say? Agents like that. Liverpool interested. It's going to be like that. Yeah, I want to go to Liverpool.
So Stan, how did Newcastle?
It's a step up from Newcastle.
How did Newcastle establish themselves as a big club then in England, if they're going to sell their best players?
Yeah, but you've got to look at it. Isak's thinking, okay, I'm in the Champions League, which is good.
Yeah.
But by going to Liverpool or even an Arsenal, I could actually win it within 2 seasons.
Why can't he win it?
It's all right being in it. It's all right. Well, because he's probably looking at Newcastle. He's looking at Newcastle, and they're not able to buy anyone. Do you know what I mean? And they've put bids in for players, haven't they? And they've turned them down. They've been turned down by players. So if you're Isak, you're going, well, it's all right. I'm glad to be in the Champions League, but there are teams interested in me where if I went there, the percentage of me actually winning the damn thing has just gone up a lot. One team got into the semi-finals, Arsenal. Liverpool are buying all these players. They're going to show big.
Newcastle.
So obviously that's.
Yeah, I just thought Newcastle were going to be the next big thing to come along, like a City.
Newcastle, Newcastle have got the money to buy Wirtz. They probably would have, right? But they're not.
Well,
so you're the player.
Allegedly,
I'll go there, man.
They have done things the right way, and that's what within the rules looks like, as opposed to a decade.
You got to take your hat off to Liverpool for the way that they've done this.
As opposed to
they brought in a manager last season. They only brought in that Chiesa player. He didn't get a sniff at anything. He was injured. He had the same team manager had, and he got more out of them. Given this treasure trove of all this money.
Did he stand?
He's under a lot of pressure. He's under a lot of pressure.
Hold on a second.
He's under a lot of pressure. If he doesn't get it right this season.
Stan, yeah. Hold on a second. you said that he got everything right. Did Arnie Slot get everything right last season, or did he get a clear run at the Premier League unchallenged?
Oh, he won the league. Let's put it that way. Okay, okay. I didn't say he didn't get
No,
everything right.
you just moved the
All right,
goalpost, didn't you?
okay,
Did you just move the
I'm
goalpost?
changing it.
You just
Yeah,
changed things up.
I'm changing it. I'm going to rephrase it. Ray's right. Ray's right. I want to rephrase. He came in. He took over a team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
No, I think he did. I think he did.
Under the previous manager, didn't look like they could win it.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
No, but you know what he did?
Do you know what I mean? Klopp
Yeah.
looked like there was something going on that was missing. Sometimes it's about things get stalled, doesn't you know? So they've heard there's only so many fucking G you up speeches you can give before you run out. They've heard that. Like that.
Yeah.
They're like, I've heard this one before. They need something a bit different.
Yeah,
and for
but
whatever reason, I don't know
you gotta
nothing
have
about
that
Arne
in
Slot.
there.
I never even heard of Arne Slot. I'd never heard of Arne Slot until he joined Liverpool.
Well,
I'm like, who?
if you're on commission,
But
Stan,
he's done something.
well, Stan, if you're on
But
commission,
he's under a lot of pressure now.
it shouldn't have anything to do
now,
with your
hold on, now-
manager if you're on commission. You know?
Because now they're like, okay, if you could do it with that, and we've just thrown all of this at you, if you don't deliver the big ones, that's going to be a big question mark. Yeah, I'm getting at everyone's, like I said earlier, let's just give him the trophy now. I was being sarcastic, but a lot of people are saying that. If Liverpool signed Isak now on top of everything else, it's all over and this and that. The pressure.
Yeah.
The pressure. I'm getting at.
Yeah.
We've got to make sure that we can take care of our own business. And in the 2 games that we face Liverpool, we've got to be.
If Liverpool bring Isak in and they've got Wirtz and Eddie Ekitike as well, surely.
By the time we face Liverpool, Isak could be like out. Who knows?
Surely it's really important that we have Saka, we have Gyökeres, and maybe we have Rodrigo on the left-hand side.
I look at it this way, right? If we can beat Real Madrid at Real Madrid, I'll put Arsenal up against anyone. And I've said it before. Off the ball, the way that we play off of the ball, I think it's probably the best team in the world off the ball. There are other teams that are better than us because they've got a better on the ball system which balances it up and gets them the goals. If you're talking about just off of the ball, I can't think of many teams that are better than us.
That's us. That's us at our best. Then, what are we like at our worst?
It's the other end, isn't it? Missed chances.
You know what our worst was?
Players not taking chances.
Yeah,
our worst was draws. 14 draws.
Yes,
that's what our worst is. And you know what? If somebody said
0-0 against Everton at home,
would you rather have like 14 draws or something like the other kind of bad scenarios? And you know what? 14 draws, you can fix that, but you can't fix 14 losses that easy, right?
But remember, like Gary, we've been in some of those games where we're drawing, and we're looking and we're thinking like, okay, there's 10 minutes to go, and we need to get a goal, and then there's a substitution. That's what we had. That's what we had.
Yeah. Well, you know what? No.
Like,
that's what Arteta trusted, and I think that's the problem. He can't. He sets his.
He would have bring an Ojededi he wouldn't do it, would he?
Yeah, he has all these players that. That's why I think when he.
He'd been on Kevin Tierney.
That's why I think he
was the most experienced.
He mismanaged.
It wasn't the right position.
Yeah, he mismanaged. He mismanaged Nweri in the sense that he overused him to the point where he couldn't use him anymore. He was injured and hurt. And a young player like that probably wasn't ready to take on the amount of effort that he needed, and he needed to manage his time a little bit better. Because late in the season, when we needed a goal, and where he should have been that player that came on to give us the last 30 minutes or so to spark things up a little bit, like he's done all when he's come on in the first half of the season, he wasn't available to us. So hopefully, I think they've said he's bulked up a little bit, so maybe he'll be able to hold up a little bit better. But I still feel like he's a player that he doesn't have to start for us, but he does have to be. I think he can be a player that definitely can come off the bench when we need a goal. When we need to.
So last season, Madueke would have been handy then in that position, right? That would have helped us if we'd had. So
and where he's a better striker of the ball than.
But as you say, he's overused.
No, I'm saying, but if you managed him better, then you would have just played him like a backup, right? You wouldn't have started him in some of those games when you need it, right? I think he wore down quickly, and
I was surprised that. Remember when Odegaard got injured near the beginning of the season? He was out for so long, and I was surprised that when Erie was still on the bench,
Yep.
he wouldn't
I
try
was
it. He wouldn't
screaming.
put him in.
He should have
It was
came on.
only when Saka
Yeah,
got injured
he should have came on in that
he was
Brighton
forced.
game. I was like screaming for him in that Brighton game, and he didn't show up for like another month and a half until Saka got injured. Like Arteta's like waiting around for the worst to happen. It's like no, don't wait for it. Just
Exactly.
fix it now. Like there's no reason why he should like. And you know what? What's worse than um, what's worse? Sitting around not playing. A young player can't just be sitting around not playing. So if you got him, you should use him, right? And we didn't use him the way we should have in that month and a half until Saka got injured. I think he deserved a little bit more time. Like if you're gonna bring him on and then go, I don't have a backup behind Erdogan. He gets injured and then you don't use the player that actually suits that position. You're wasting. You're a waster basically. You're wasting your
Did
resources that you have.
you see what he did as well? Rather than just taking that one piece out, as in Odegaard, and slotting Wineri in and keeping everybody playing, he changed the whole formation to 4-4-2. He would rather,
Yeah.
if I was Wineri, I'd be like, am I that bad? The gaffer would rather change the whole system than just put me into a system.
The same
that
thing happened for
everybody knows.
Partey.
Am I
Well, think
that?
about this. The same thing happened for Partey, right? Moreno's actually feeling good about playing up top. Partey's out because he's a dummy, right? He's a dummy. So what do you fix the midfield? You don't break up the only attack you have. You're playing at home with the best attack that you have. No, you know what? We're going to weaken the front of our line. Weaken the middle of our line. I'd rather fix the middle. Whatever you want to do. Like you could have brought Skelly and put him in the midfield and put somebody on the back line if you really felt like you needed to make an adjustment there. But like the whole problem we've had all year is we need to score, and you're in the semifinals. We need to score a goal. We didn't score in that goal in that first game, and I think that set us back. Partey came back, and he wasn't the same player he was, and we kind of lost it. We lost it in the first leg. We didn't lose it in the second leg.
Yeah,
right?
and
I think he should have not broken up what we had up top, which was Moreno was the best player from the time he started playing striker for us. He was the best attacker in the league. One of the best attackers in the world, in the top flight. And you're like, no. You know what? I will break that up for what he's not a good midfielder either. So it's not like you're not like you said, all right, you know what? I know we got to move him to midfield because he's really good there. No, he wasn't good there at all. Defensively we're sound. All we had to do is just move a piece into the midfield, be it in Wary or somebody else. Yeah.
Red John said it makes no sense for Newcastle to sell Isak for anything below 170. Well, I mean, at the end of the day,
They said 150 set a bar, didn't they? They said 150.
Already.
They
said
That's
already-
170 euros though, right? That's what that is.
I said
right?
pounds. 70
No,
million.
that 170 there is euros though, right?
That's the nuance right there. Pounds to euros makes.
No,
a
Red John's in
difference.
England. I think he means pounds.
About 10%. The other thing as well is, Sesko was going for 100 million. I see now that RB Leipzig would be willing to talk about 70 or lower than that
To Newcastle.
to Newcastle,
Yeah.
they're just preparing for the eventuality or possibility.
That's going to be so. Do you imagine
Isak.
that? Imagine that if that happens. Imagine Sesko ends up at Newcastle, right? He comes to the Premier League, and now Sesko up close. The two strikers that we were
Head to
like
head. Yeah.
head to head with, you know what I mean? Because everyone
Head to head.
was
on the
doing
field.
their
I was thinking,
analysis.
you're
one from
concerned.
this
You're
league
concerned
or
about.
this
You're
one.
concerned about the Eucharist transformation. The Shesko one is even worse.
Would be
No.
I'd
Think
love to
about
see
the
that.
levels you're talking
I'd love to
about
see
going
that.
from. You're talking about going from one of the top strikers in the world to somebody who's still figuring out what he's doing.
Leave
As
that one
opposed to
stand.
Arsenal going from Kai Havertz, who's not really a striker, to a striker who you're saying you still have concerns about because of where he played. They both played in leagues and played not really up to the
I'm
levels,
not against
right?
Gyökeres.
You're
Yeah.
not what?
Okay,
He's
look,
not-
look, John, I am not. I'm not. I just have a concern.
Take that mask
You
off,
know what? You know what it
Just
is? He's a
have
Batman
concern.
fan. That's why.
But
He's a Batman fan,
Tony.
and that's why he's
Take
upset,
the mask
right?
off, Tony.
Show us the
but,
Batman, the Batman doll. That's why you're upset, right?
but I will say
You're
though,
like,
right?
I can't. You're like, I can't cheer for Bane. You're like, I can't cheer for Bane. No
Come on.
I will
way.
say this though,
Lock your
right?
fingers.
If
Dan,
we had
Lock
the
your
opportunity though, right? Guaranteed, and the window's shut, right? And we've added Rodrigo, Ollie Watkins, and Essay. Window, then Gyökeres and Essay. Do you know what I'm getting at? I'm just looking at it like that because I hear what everyone's saying, man. That Ollie Watkins is going to get you at least 15 goals in the league at Arsenal. At least, I'm being generous.
Ollie Watkins would have been for me the Shesko.
He's
That's
the
what
same age as well.
Alright,
So
yeah.
there's not, and he's the same
if you
age.
brought in Shesko, you bring Ollie Watkins. You bring
I
in.
will make you. Here we go, Gary. I'll go first. I think Gyökeres will score more Premier League goals than Ollie Watkins will.
You think?
Say again?
You think who?
Gyökeres will score
Yeah.
more Premier League goals than
That's
Ollie
he
Watkins.
better. That's why we're bringing him in for
You
sure.
agree with me, Gary? You agree?
Oh, definitely. That well, yeah, I think he will. I mean, that's why we're bringing him in.
Dan,
I think he's better than Kai Havertz. So if he's better than Kai Havertz, then he's better than 15
you
goals
agree
a
with that
season.
statement, Stan? Gyökeres will score
No.
more than Watkins.
No,
There's the
It's
rock.
just- the man's just a
There's
hater,
the
man.
hill.
He's just a hater. That's what
That's
that guy
your
is.
hill.
I was looking,
He
if you're asking me to make a bet with money and say, right, you've got to choose one,
Yeah.
for the reasons I've said, if I'm using my own money, I would go with Ollie Watkins because I think it's proven that if you're saying 15, I would say that he will get 15. But I don't know if Gyökeres will. I'm not sure. I'm not 100%. So I'm not going to put
All
my
right.
money on it. It's not saying that I don't want him to.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that we shouldn't have bought him and it's a waste of time. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying
No.
that.
You have concerns, okay? You have concerns.
Yeah, that's it.
You want to speak to a manager. You have concerns. I want to speak to Arteta. I want to tell you, Mikel, I have concerns about Victor.
As I said, I'm gonna judge him after 15 games, but I'm hoping that he can close the argument by 10. So you don't have to get to
You might
15.
be
Nothing would make me happier. But if he does a Darwin Nunes,
No,
we're gonna
you're
get
not. You're
hammered.
not going to
If he
be
does a
happy.
Dar-
You're
if he
not going to be happy with 10
does
goals.
a Nunes,
Stop
we're
that.
gonna get hammered.
You're lying. You're not going to be happy with
No,
10
I'm saying
goals.
no. I said his performance. I talk
No,
about
you know what? His performance
goals,
is terrible
assists.
if he only gets you 10 goals. I'm
Yes,
sorry.
but he can win me over
No.
Stan's going to
Yeah.
be
games, but I'm willing to judge him at
Stan's going to
15.
be at a Mikel Arteta press conference saying, "I have concerns about the character of Victor Gyökeres
He's a
and
striker.
his goal output."
He's a
And
striker.
his goal output.
As
All
in
right,
strike,
in the
bang on
chat
strike.
box. Let us know in the chat box. BX Gunner, Tiger and Gunner, and Red John. Who's going to score more goals, Watkins or Gyökeres?
Let me answer this one. Nobody knows, and I don't think anybody cares at Arsenal. He's no longer under contract.
Yeah. Yeah. This Gary gets to express himself, not that other Gary that's at that bar.
They're different type of
What is
shows,
that?
man.
What is
I
that?
go in the Gooner. The Gooner. Is it the Gooner podcast? I think it's called.
Different Garys.
Yeah. It's a different show. I'm okay to hang and chill and be one wherever I go. Here I don't want to have to hear Ray say any nonsense, so then I scream him down. That's what it is.
Well, the season of 2026 has started with you, Gary, earlier in the podcast. I don't know what you said, but it reminded me of previous Garys.
Yeah.
You know, I
Yeah.
think it was about Stan's concerns about Gyökeres.
I know he's just that guy's. Yeah.
I wanted Arsenal to
Yeah,
buy
you
Nunes.
know, I figured it. I
wanted
figured it out.
Arsenal to buy Nunes. I know we should be looking at this guy.
Stan, you're being
last time at
trolled now.
Liverpool,
You're being
I-
trolled. You know that, right?
Yeah.
You're being
Oh.
trolled by the
I
chat
wanted
box.
Darwin Nunes. And Red John says, "Do I rate Osimhen over Gyökeres?" Again, if you were saying to me now, you've got to put my money down, £10 onto Osimhen. For me, I would put it on Osimhen because I think that he's proven it at a higher level league-wise.
Yeah. No, I mean I would have taken Osman, but I just don't think we're going to pay his salary.
Red John also
That's the
said,
restriction, and that's kind of the problem with
yeah,
his deal is
yeah,
we're not going to
Why
pay
is nobody
300 plus
looking at
for
him?
him.
baggage,
Why is there no bids for him? Why
Yeah.
is there
the
no talk
baggage,
about him?
Gary.
It's almost like it doesn't
Um,
exist.
Yeah.
Red John also
What
said,
baggage? What's he done? What's
Red
going on?
John also says Gyökeres finished Watkins off Mortal Kombat style fatality. It's over, Stan.
I want him to do well.
You're all alone on that rock. You're all alone on that hill, on that island.
But what rock? You're acting as if I'm sitting there going, "No, we should never have bought him.
No,
It's a waste
no,
of
I'm
money.
just saying.
I don't want him." I'm not
You
saying
think
that.
Watkins will have
I'm not
more?
saying
You're
that.
just saying you think Watkins will have more goals at the end of the season than Gyökeres, right?
I'm proved wrong.
Well, it will be fun to watch this last couple of seasons where we want Kai Havertz to prove us wrong, and in time he did prove us wrong. The goals came in the end of the day. Yeah, we've addressed that one already.
Players can grow in me, right? This is not a case of Danny Welbeck. I was like, "What are you buying him for? I don't want this guy. I can't believe you're buying Man United cast-offs. This is a disgrace." And then he won me over. I kind of feel more like that about Madueke. But I want Madueke to win me over. Danny Welbeck did. I'm not one of those that because I don't like someone, no matter how good they do, I'm stubborn.
No, I
And I'm
think
like,
there'll be.
no. If Danny Welbeck could win me over, and I was so venomous about the signing, anything is possible. I'm not even saying that bit about Gyökeres. I'm glad we've
Yeah.
put our stake in the ground
Now,
and that we got this
I
guy
think-
that we obviously the club wanted. All I'm saying is that I really got my fingers crossed that what I've been looking at with Portuguese strikers. I hope this, and I'm not talking about the nationality of in that league
well,
and what's happened. That's all. That's all. And I'm confident. No, I'm not confident. To say confident he will, I'm not. I'll be lying. I hope that he does really well. I hope he scores a hat trick
He's
in his first game. At Man
yeah,
United.
of course.
Love it. I'd
And-
love
and
it.
It'll just be a little bit of banter. I think Watkins will get a lot of minutes. It depends on what Mikel Arteta does with Gyökeres, Havertz,
You ain't seen the last of Kai Havertz.
Kai Havertz as well.
Kai Havertz.
We know
It wouldn't
Mikel.
surprise me if Kai Havertz. It wouldn't surprise me if Kai Havertz started the first game of the season.
Well,
Kai Havertz,
Um,
he's not a backup.
Mikel
He's a first team player.
he's
Not
on
a
record as saying that we'll start with Kai Havertz. I think Mikel. Look
Guy,
at
he doesn't learn, man. That guy doesn't learn at all.
no.
How can you say that now, irrespective of pre-season? How can you say that now?
I,
You might have it in your mind,
I
but
agree
surely
with
you got to look at pre-season
No,
training.
you're not
Anything
you're
could
not
happen
going
between
through
there.
all this big hassle to bring
Bullshit.
Gyökeres in so that you know what, maybe he might be able to start for me. You kidding me? No. If you looked at his body of work and everything like that, you should feel confident that you're going to get what you want out of it. That's like going, you know what, like Zubamendi, we all expect him to start, right? I think it's the same way with Gyökeres. I don't think anybody's bringing Gyökeres into their squad and going, I think he might be able to start
I
for
actually
us.
think transfer-wise, we paid a little bit less for Gyökeres than we did for Havertz, as in transfer value-wise. Like a few
No, it's
million.
definitely less. We paid like 65 million pounds for Kai Havertz. We're only
So
paying 55.
he's not going anywhere. He's going to be,
Yeah.
he's not a bench
I
guy.
think
He's not a bench guy.
Yeah.
He's
not a starter for us either.
Like the whole.
He's not a starter for us, though.
what am I?
He is.
He's not a starter for
He
us.
is
No.
in the
He's
goal
not.
Mikel, he is.
No, he's not going to start for us.
You don't see that.
No.
Maybe not for you,
No.
but for Mikel, he sees Kai Havertz. Never.
Yeah, he's
Come
not. He's not.
He sees him like that. I don't. Maybe not. He does. They ain't paying him 295, whatever. He's a starter, and he loves him. I think he's one of his favourites. It's his project. Do you know what I mean? He loves Kai Havertz. So I'm not saying that to find a way to have him as a big feature.
You keep talking us into existence. No,
It's
No,
not.
not. I'm going to
It's not
talk it against
Kai
that, Manny.
Havertz.
You're trying to talk
Right?
it in existence.
Kai,
I don't. No, I don't
okay,
want
look.
to. No, he's
Think of the
not a
role.
starter for
Think of
us.
the role that Kai Havertz has played. Think of the role that he's played in the team outside of injuries over the last 2 seasons. No way that Kai Havertz is going to be happy to having someone like Gyökeres come in if it means playing his time up. And he
They'll
means
be
like,
they'll be playing.
you mean my game time ran down by 25, 30%? No.
They'll be plenty of minutes for
That's going to
everybody.
be interesting.
It's what
Yeah.
happens when you're not that good. That's all.
That's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
But I'm a manager, loves Kai Havertz. He ain't a bench guy, and he's gonna and Havertz himself is not gonna be like, so what? This guy's coming in and it's gonna like eat up 25% of my time from no. So he's gonna have to make it work. It's gonna be interesting. Havertz ain't gonna be happy with that.
25%. You
I'm just saying,
you are
if he's
definitely
not-
got you
if he's
got
not-
whatever you're doing out there in that
What, if he's
Kennedy.
gonna-
You need to
what?
stop it. 25%
picturing
of his time. Kai Havertz is lucky if he gets 25% of the minutes.
Well,
Wait, that's the other way
with
around.
average, right? He
Might,
starts like
yeah, it might be
even-
3/4, 1/4, Gary.
even if without Gyökeres, and then he's choosing Havertz now over Jesus. You know that, right? He's picking Havertz as
We're
his
not
number
bringing
one.
Eucharist
So-
in to sit behind Kai Havertz. We're not doing that. That's
I
almost
never
like
said that.
that's almost like
But
saying
Mikel-
because
but
if
Mikel
you're
is
looking
gonna
at
find a way to get him in
looking at the money, then
Listen.
Zubimendi also probably shouldn't be in there because because he's not
What's
worth
Stan?
that much money
So
to us
Gary,
either.
what Stan is saying that Jokers will not.
I know what
play.
he's saying. I don't want to. I don't
Well,
want to speak it and be.
Gyökeres
No, I'm not
will
going to be
not
happy with that.
Play 90 minutes every week. It won't be 90 minutes every week. Kai will be getting 20, 25 minutes most games, I would say. You know, but
It's not happening.
we're gonna have to see how
That can't go on.
Stan. We're gonna have to see how this plays out.
And then you'll see games right where maybe Gyökeres is starting, Kai Havertz is coming on, and that happens for a couple of games. And Gyökeres will probably have some good games, let's say, for example. Then all of a sudden, you'll see Kai Havertz will be starting and Gyökeres will be on the bench. You'll be going, why? Gyökeres hasn't been. And it'll be like, well, Mikel Arteta has to give Kai. He can't let his minutes get diminished because he's a starter. He's got to get him in there. And he's going to have a problem
No,
with it.
stop talking that way. Stop talking. You've been drinking that Kool-Aid. Stop drinking the Kool-Aid.
All right,
That's not how it works.
We're gonna Stan, Gary, Alonso.
Yes.
We're gonna move it to midfield a little bit.
Hey,
now,
Alonso.
right? We're gonna move
Hey,
it.
Gary. Hey, Stan.
You
All
know?
right.
Hey, Alonso. Now, Kai Havertz can still be part of the conversation in midfield as well, right?
No, he don't play for us.
All right, Gary. What's Zubimendi gonna do for the team?
He's gonna ball out. That's what he's gonna do. We're gonna
Will
go.
it free up Odegaard to?
He's gonna speed things up for us, I believe. He's got that. He's got that, as they say, Spanish flair. He's gonna speed the ball up when it's getting out of the midfield and up to the front line. All right. But we're gonna have to. Once we get that ball, he's gonna be ready to go. That's kind of how I see things playing out with him there. So yeah, no. I mean, we saw a little bit of what he can do. Like people worrying about him going against, getting it rolled over in the midfield, and he showed that he can hold up to some degree. He's not a Partey in terms of that, but he's going to offer us enough going forward that it'll offset some of the defensive things that he doesn't do. So
where is
looking
Tony
forward to
today? Tigers.
He reminds me
Where is Tony?
of Lucas Torreira, not in his style of play,
Right.
but just in his height.
Diminutive style. Yeah.
Small guy.
Is he going to free up Odegaard to do some of the things that Odegaard has done in previous seasons? And Alonso, I'll give that one to you. Is it going to free up Odegaard?
I believe so. I think that they played together, but we also see that for I think a year or two maybe. But yeah, I mean, I think that having familiar faces like Odegaard and also Marino, I think that you'll most likely see some of them play together some periods of the year when Rice needs a break or if Rice plays number 6. Well, never mind, that can't work. Yeah, I think that the familiarity with both, Odegaard and Marino will benefit both. I think it's with Mendy playing as a six. Uh, if Rice needs a break, I think Marino could be more than capable of being Rice's backup, just in case Rice gets hurt or needs a rest. So I think Arteta and Berta picked out a good midfielder, and Zubimendi he's been in big games in Spain and also has experience in European football tournaments. So yeah, I think that for Zubimendi to turn down both Real Madrid and Liverpool kind of shows that um, this Arsenal team ain't that bad. So, I think people would say, well, it's an upgrade towards Partey, but they're two different styles of number sixes. Um, so, yeah, I'm excited about him joining Arsenal, especially this midfield. And I can't wait to see him against United.
Yeah, yeah. With Mendy, I think, as Gary said, he's going to ball out and he will free Odegaard up, free Declan Rice up to be damaging in the attacking third of the field. Stan, you look like you might want to come in there.
I think with the three that you're looking at, which are going to make up the midfield if we played in that same formation with Zubimendi, Rice, and Odegaard, all playing at their best, you're going to have Zubimendi as that deep lying sort of central defensive midfielder. But now this allows us to be more of a Xhaka role, box to box, being able to help out on the defensive side, receive the ball from a Zubimendi. What Declan Rice can do better than Xhaka is he's very good at gobbling up ground as well. The ball, moving that up, and then hopefully in a perfect way, you've got Martin Odegaard now playing as an attacking midfielder of the striker, ready and do something, create a pass that's going to be a goal scoring opportunity. In a perfect world, that's what I see those three doing in the midfield if everybody's fit and everybody's playing at their best.
And maybe we see with Odegaard.
Declan Rice a very more different role now as that box to box. Hopefully, being able to use his defensive part of the game, help out Zubimendi when needed, sometimes form a two, but also really just take the ball off of him when he needs to.
Yeah.
And hopefully, Martin Odegaard's back to form and he's ready to receive that ball when he misses, and something happens.
Yeah,
that's what I think the game plan is.
And Martin Odegaard now may have a striker ahead of him in Gyökeres that could be similar to Kevin De Bruyne and Haaland, the way that they used to feed off of each other. And, Gyökeres can give Odegaard the assists that he hasn't got in previous years through Eddie Nketiah, Gabriel Jesus, and Kai Havertz. Just haven't been there. So, Gary, it could be exciting what we could see this season. With Gyökeres, maybe Rodrigo on the left, Saka on the right, behind.
Stop it.
Yeah, I mean, people have been talking about, Erdegaard being one of the best creators in football. He just doesn't have his striker there. Well, that's what we got Gyökeres for, and that's why I feel like he's going to play, because if we're talking about needing somebody to finish, then that's Gyökeres. So yeah, no, looking forward to seeing that. And then, like I said, if you've got Zubimendi there to help speed things along, if they gave Saka the ability to just do a little bit more, be a little adventurous in what he does in his attack, it'll be all the better for that.
Yeah, talk a little bit more about that, Gary, because I know you're going to leave us in about 10 minutes or so.
Yeah, Saka. I mean, we all see how Saka plays, right? He sometimes I just want him to just attack that defender, and sometimes he's okay to like hold it up a little bit and then attack them. At some point, I'm like, just attack him right away. Your players should be there when you make that run. Not every time, but a lot of times you should be able to make that move. He can get past anybody usually.
Would he be more willing to do it now with Gyökeres in the middle and maybe Rodrigo as a Martinelli coming in, crashing in on the left side as well? Will Saka be more open to giving that ball quicker? get it into the
I
box.
hope so. That's what we've been lacking, and we
Yeah.
kind of like want to just walk in the ball against a back, with 10 guys behind the ball, and it's like that doesn't work. At some point, we're going to have to have the odds in our favor with less players in the box and catch them out.
That's going
You
to
know,
be interesting because you don't know if Saka's been playing for that in that way for these last 2-3 seasons because we haven't had the options to. He hasn't had the players around him to do that. He's been the guy who's trying to like jink inside and hit a left foot screamer into the top left hand corner. You know, has he been that guy, Stan? Has he been resistant to going inside, giving the ball quickly because he doesn't have the supporting cast up front with him?
Martinelli.
No, Saka.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so like,
Um,
why has Saka been going backwards? Sometimes he goes inside. He delays
I'll
delivering
tell
the
you,
ball.
I mentioned this before on a few pods, but in a different context about someone else. But it was an interview that they had with Salah. And they were saying to him, like, what are the main differences, as a manager playing under Slot and Jurgen Klopp? And he said that with Arne Slot, he allows him not to have to go back
Yeah,
and to have a more freer role.
yeah.
So he's able to do more. Whereas one of the reasons, again, why Mikel Arteta likes certain players and will play them, had the Kai Havertz thing, is Martinelli. Even though Martinelli sometimes has a bad end product, he really favours Martinelli because he loves his defensive work.
Yeah.
And something that Rodrigo is, as well as he is going forward, Rodrigo does a lot of defensive work in that formation as well with Real Madrid. So, he'll like that. But again, Mikel Arteta has these little things talking about Martinelli being able to do more in the final third. And he gets a nod over Trossard because he does more on the defensive side, right? He loves that. Saka, I would like him to maybe. I would, but the job, the way that we play, it obviously requires Saka to come back more. I'd like him to maybe have that freedom that Salah was talking about. Another thing for Martinelli as well is that on his side of the pitch, he's had so many changes up front. It was Gabriel Jesus for a while. Then it was Kai Havertz. Then it was Mika Marino. Meanwhile, behind him, it's either Zinchenko,
Even his fullbacks,
or it's Calafiori,
Yeah.
or it's Kivior. He doesn't know. I will give him as well. But he has been having a lot changing around quite frequently.
Rice.
And hopefully, maybe with a bit of stability, we can maybe start to see. And if there's somebody in the team where he's now fighting for his place, maybe we'll start to see a little bit of that Martinelli that we had a couple of seasons ago.
It's gonna be interesting a little bit. Arsenal have really heavily relied upon Bukayo Saka and Martinelli on the flanks as our wingers for the last 3-4 seasons. Now, if we introduce a Gyökeres, an Eze, a Madueke on top of Odegaard and Waneri, things could start to look a lot more promising in the attacking third of the field, which is, that's where we didn't win the league. We didn't win the league because we didn't score enough goals last season because we were injured. We were defensively very sound. We don't lose to teams, but 14 draws that Gary talked about. If we lose half of those games, as he said throughout last season, lose half of them but win the other half, that's an.
But some of those draws, because when we were battling to try and either draw the game or get the extra couple of points, we're missing that killer instinct. We're playing players that don't do what Gyökeres is going to do in where he's going to be when the ball's coming from the midfield. I saw someone showing some videos, and you saw where the defence would be, where our players would be with someone like Marino, or even sometimes Havertz, and he's saying, "Where's that person that should be there?" And that's going to be Gyökeres.
Yeah.
There's little things like that, and it's like they're chasing the game, and them of being in the places where a natural striker is supposed to be. And that's no fault of their own, but it's because of the positions that they usually play, right? It's hard to explain it without showing you, but it made a lot of sense. And I was saying that in some of these situations, we've signed someone that knows what to do and may be able to get a chance and make a conversion at that point. Do you know what I mean?
And in the course of a season, there's going to be games where if you're good enough, you're going to win. You're going to win a game in the final minutes, in the 93rd and 94th minute of games. You're going to win them if you have strikers who can do that for you. And don't underestimate the importance that will have on your
You
season.
have to have the bottle to do that, right? Rather than playing it safe and kicking the ball sideways, you're like, no, fuck it, I'm going to go for it. Yeah. That's bottle and confidence.
And you have to have the players to do it as well. Liverpool had that season last season. They had at Brentford away from home. It would look like it was going to be a 0-0 draw, and Darwin Núñez popped up with 2 goals. Probably the only 2 goals he scored last season. But you can't underestimate the importance in a title race that not only does to your team, but does to the opposition as well. Because us as fans, we were watching Brentford.
Players like Esse or even Rodrigo, they are those kind of bottle players. They're not scared to be like on the edge of the box and just go chip. And next thing you know, like, fuck, how did that happen? He just scored the goal. They have that.
Yeah.
And we've missed a little bit. Like, you know, the geezer will be on the edge of the box and then he'll cut it back into a midfielder. And then we've got that horseshoe of death thing going on. Sometimes we need that player that's just going to go, no, I'm going for it. I've got the confidence that I'm going to go for it and I'm going to make it count. We're missing that. And I think some of the players that we've signed, I think Madueke, as much as I don't like all the Chelsea stuff, but as I said, he's not a bad player, but he is of that ilk as well.
Direct.
Try to make something happen. He's not going to play it safe.
I think
okay, maybe the keeper saves it, or it's going to keep doing that. And some of them are going to go in.
Yeah.
And I think we've missed a little bit.
I think that's very interesting, Stan.
Odegaard's been a big culprit for that. Sometimes he's played it safe.
I think that's very interesting.
He's going for an assist where he should be going for the shot.
You've hit on something exactly I think is very interesting. We have targeted players who are the antithesis of those players that we talked about. You know, we've targeted Gyökeres, who is a physical, powerful forward, who will not only, you know, as BX Gunner says, Gyökeres cannot be held up in the build-up. I think once he gets the ball, BX, he's going to drive forward with the ball with physicality as well for 5 or 10 yards. He must be freed up to thrive. I think we're targeting players like Madueke and Eze and Gyökeres who will take on their players. What do you think of that, Gary? Those players will take on the defenders. Eze, if we get him, Gyökeres, if he's in the door, and Madueke, they're direct players who will attack.
You know, we need to take more risks. You know, like you said, I mean,
do it in last season.
And as you said, we're bringing in players that do. We have young players that will do that, right? Think about. I mean, I think if you look at the minutes to shot ratio for our academy players that came in, Dalman and Weary, it's probably much better than what you got from Kai Havertz and Martinelli, right? I mean, that's what we need. So I kind of felt like, our passing in some of the positions will not be as clean as it was before because we're going to be making passes into dangerous areas where the chances of completion are less. But guess what? When they do complete, we're going to put players on goal, put players in attacking formation in positions. So you take that, especially if it's going in towards the other goal, right? So you know, I think that's what's going to happen. That's what hopefully will happen. Will give us more. We'll be more threatening, and we'll be able to get more out of the game. I'm going to have to go. I gotta exercise and get up and all that stuff. So
cheers, Gary. Chat, mate.
Okay. All right, everybody in the chat.
Cheers, Gary.
Lonzo.
See Gary.
And what's your name again? That's right, Ray. Have a good night, and we'll see you guys later. All right, see you. All right, see you.
Some of the draws was because of sending off and injured players, Stan. So there you go. Um, it was a difficult season that we
But
had.
I just wanted to say as well. I mean, if maybe we'll get to a stage where Odegaard becomes, the assist master, where it's like, okay, you don't want to go for goal, and you want to continually lob the ball with clever little lob crosses or thread the thread the eye of a needle. Okay, I'm going to give you
Yeah,
people that are going to make chances of that, and people like Esse, or Rodrigo, Gyökeres, Madueke, players that if they can get those passes in dangerous places, they ain't going to go for like the horseshoe of death. They're going to go for something.
yeah.
We've been missing, and that's why I think that someone like a Rodrigo, and maybe even an Esse to extent, they'll have that Alex Sanchez effect.
Yeah.
Well, I call it the Maverick. It's a Maverick. The
You
Maverick.
have to-
And
you're
even
not-
in the 88th minute, when everything might be a bit flat and you need that goal, they're going to come up with some shit
That's like
from the edge of the box or whatever. You're going to go, fuck. A minute ago, he looked like he was on his knees, and all of a sudden, he's gone pow from the edge of the box. The goalkeeper can't save it. The whistle goes, and you're like, fuck.
Yep.
That's why you have that
I'm
player. That's why we have that player. That's the sort of thing that you'll be thinking. And I think Esse could do that, but Rodrigo has done it all.
I'm going
He
to
comes
be,
with that X factor.
I'm going to regain my appetite for this this season coming forward. Whereas at the end of last season, Arsenal's admission that they weren't going to do anything in January to compete with Liverpool just sucked the life out of me a little bit, because as a supporter, you want your team and you want your club to do the best that they can to win. We can accept not winning competitions, but when your club doesn't try to go and get a striker, when you have two injuries to or more to your team, and you're going to need a striker, you need a Ollie Watkins or something in January. That didn't happen. I'm going to blame Paul Pott for devolving the chat into talking about Linda Luzardi and Maria Whitaker and Lindsay Dawn.
Maria Whitaker, good shout. Good shout. good shout, that is. Yeah. May even call Linda Luzardi, Maria Whitaker. Good shout. Good shout.
Vita Garvin and
It's even more pleasing as well. What's even more pleasing is that no one's even mentioned Sam Fox.
Yeah.
Backstage,
Yeah.
because they know.
They know what? What do they know?
That's Sam Fox. You know what I mean?
They know that Sam Fox. Yeah. All right. So some of the injuries. Hopefully, we're mitigating against injuries, because we're starting to, like Alonso. We brought in players like Kepa, Mascara, Norgard. You know, these are players who will sit on the bench, but if they're called upon, if David Raya picks up an injury, he's got to miss a few games. Kepa is a capable goal Kepa. If you see what I did there, Mascara.
I did actually.
Goal
Yeah,
Kepa.
I mean, listen, I think what caught me off guard is Norgard signing to Arsenal, and he's a captain at Brentford, so he has he adds leadership values as well. So yeah, I mean,
Exactly.
I think what Berta has done has been a masterclass. I think that for years you've been life and death at important places. And talking about Mascara being a right center back, we haven't had one of those in a long time, because for once, Saliba's been playing so well, and Ben White shipped over right back, which he's done really well himself there as well. So, yeah, I mean, I think you're seeing a club that wants to win titles now. You're seeing them being more ambitious, but also knowing that we didn't have a proper replacement for Soccer when he got hurt last year. So I think Madueke is I wouldn't say perfect answer to backup, but he is the doable backup. I think that he is going to surprise a lot of people from what I read about Declan Rice had said, and
Yeah.
I'm very excited about seeing him play as well. So, yeah, all these players I think have a part to play next season.
Do you feel, Alonso, that there might be a slight question mark behind Bukayo Saka's injury this season, that we look to safeguard that with Madueke?
I mean, even still, right? I mean, I think that last year, we've been needing a backup for Saka for a long time now because we've said in the past that Reece Nelson, who else? We're the replacement if Saka got hurt. Reece
Yeah,
Nelson is most
Reece
likely going to
Nelson,
leave.
one area maybe.
Yeah, Winardi. But to me, I see Winardi as a backup to Odegaard. I honestly think
Yeah,
that's what Arteta thinks. And there's no reason why he can't play there as well. So,
yeah,
you know, I think, we were needing a viable backup to Saka for a long time. Now, the left is a different story. I personally like to see Esse there. I don't think Rodrigo is going to come. Um, and
yes,
even in the sense, I think there's talk that Martinelli may be used as a striker as well. Um, I read today that he could possibly be moved there. And or Stern left. I still think Martinelli is still a player for Arsenal. I think he's very talented, but I think what happens is he's got to work on some things, and he'll be okay. I think he'll be used as a backup if we bring in Esse or Rodrigo. But I think what Berta had addressed was the backup situations. I think that once Eugenio left, I think we need a backup. We need a player replacement as well, and I think Norsgaard is a perfect answer for that.
yeah,
He's cheap, he came at a cheap price as well, so
yeah.
yeah.
For a player who's able to put it about in midfield, in the cup games, maybe some of the Premier League games where Zubimendi doesn't have to play many minutes, as that Norgard can come in. This is the way we're seeing things. We hope that Mikel Arteta once again will spread the minutes around a little bit. Stan said, "Ain't no party like a Paul Pot party," and
Mhm.
if Tony was here, he'd be busy googling all those names that just flashed by in the last few minutes. Uh, he'd be enjoying himself. But yeah, Stan, what do you think about the depth now, and when we have a match day, you'll have your first 11 players, but you'll also see on the bench players who can come in and be impactful in the game as well.
Yeah, a player like Nordegaard, for example, it's not a glamorous signing, but I think it just does the job.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
And
if there's a game coming up and it's an FA Cup,
here's there.
and I see Nordegaard's in the starting lineup, I'm not going to be worried about it.
You need
About him coming off of the bench to give maybe Zubimendi a breather.
every squad needs players like this. Stan, they're happy to sit
He's a
on the bench.
captain. He was a captain in the Premier League club, and he's still got something to offer. And he's going to have better players around
and
him.
he's coming to Arsenal with the opportunity of winning, dare I say it, some silverware.
The geezer started balling when he saw his kid in the Arsenal kit, man. So that's good enough for me.
Yeah. Listen,
Isn't it? It's like,
I know.
So.
But now we're really getting to the point where this season.
What is it about Arsenal
winning.
transfers and crying? There was he cried because his kid came out in the Arsenal kit, and then there were stories that Gyökeres, his dad, was crying. A lot of crying.
Cry more, Arsenal.
I hope Rodrigo's crying.
Yeah, but listen, you do need a player like Norgard to be happy to sit on the bench. You need a player like Mascara who he could have some qualities, but Saliba can't play every game.
No.
Every minute of every game of every season. So
the problem is Mikel Arteta. He has to get to the stage where he can afford to take Saka off after 60 minutes and not 85.
Yeah.
and believe that the person that's coming in is still going to be able to make a contribution rather than hanging it out. Because there were some
Yeah.
games where we had the game won and sewn up, and there was like another game coming up in like 3 days' time, and it was like we're making subs at 85 minutes, and it's just like
Yeah.
why? We're at home, we're comfortable, and then you wonder why players are going out with like soft hair injuries and muscles and shit like that, right? Hamstrings and that. So hopefully he's been given the money. He's bought these players, which they're not. I mean, we say that Norgard is a backup. He is at Arsenal. 80% of the teams in the Premier League, he could be a starter.
Yeah.
If the case, then he has to be used so that we don't run a Zubimendi into the ground if that's the position he's coming into playing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We can trust player. We end up going through the season with more of a squad to pick from. Same with Madueke. Again, I don't like the Chelsea stuff and all of that. But he's a good footballer. It's not bad. He's tricky. Got an eye for goal. Likes to go past players. He's not gonna, he's not a horseshoe of death. Essay, Rodrigo. I like what we're looking at here, but and we still, and there's still plenty of time.
We haven't mentioned. Yeah.
I think it's a good deal. Was Kepa. We draw from that Chelsea well. The best ones is Kepa. At one time, he was like the most expensive goalkeeper on the market. He had a good season at Bournemouth, and we got him for $5 million. That's good business. Yeah. Now I know a lot of people are saying that Andre Berta has done some good stuff so far. He's halfway. The part that we need to see now is outgoings for money, selling for money. None of this like we're just ending your contract. We want to see, you know what I mean? Why is it that Chelsea can sell players like Madueke for 50 million? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we ain't.
Yeah.
35 million, right? Is that a Wobie or?
Yeah, that's crazy.
I think that's Emil Smith Rowe. That's the highest sale. Our highest sale. Not under Mikel Arteta, ever.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Do you know
I wanted to
ever. And Chelsea, see a team like Chelsea are able to sell their backup player. Not even their first teams for more than that.
Well, they have 50 players.
Why can't we sell Reece Nelson for 30 million?
Well, they have 50 players.
Surely this should be the market that Reece. If Madueke can go for 52 million, surely we can get rid of Reece Nelson for 30.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? Well, what will happen? No, it will be a loan with an option to buy.
Yeah.
Which means he's back again.
Yeah.
In a year.
It's crazy. crazy.
Why can't we sell him for 30 million?
So we should be able to move on some of our players for an average of 10 million per player. I would think. You know what I mean? Talking about Lokonga, I'm talking about
Zambi Lokonga should be 20 million in this market. Surely 20 million.
Yeah, I know, but we don't do that.
15? Why not?
15. Well, we have to get better at that.
This is where we're now going to see, because there's still time. At the end of the window, we were going to see the players will have left. Let's see what Bert has done.
Zinchenko should be sold for 40.
Let's see what he can do, right? We've seen the buying side and how he does it. He's on the phone to everybody. He's like fucking lurking, isn't he? Everyone's getting like their fucking contracts agreed, but nothing's happening. So he's done. Let's see now. Let's see you do that selling. Let's see you get like 3 clubs agreeing terms with Zambi Lokonga, and us picking the best deal. Let's see you do that.
We got nothing for.
It's not just about the buying, right? It's not just about the buying. It's about the selling.
Kieran Tierney for free. But we let him go for free as well, Alonso.
Yeah, he was hurt.
But why?
Huh?
I was hurt.
That's why.
I was hurt, but 10 million would have been nice. Yeah. Money we paid 25 million for him.
One player
we paid 20.
I wanted to talk about. I know there was a game yesterday. Arsenal did play AC Milan, and One player we didn't talk about so far was Kivior, and looks like Kivior is going to be
Yeah,
staying now. And
Good.
because we
good.
rate him, right? He did well when he had to deputize for, was it
Mega
Gallagher
Legs.
Megalegs? I believe it. Megalegs was injured last season.
He got 2 Man of the Match
Yeah,
awards. He got 2 Man of the Match awards, which is, playing in defence. It's not like he's coming in the wing or somewhere that's going to, create goals. And he's coming in the defence, and everyone was like, oh, before. Why? Because he'd been played at left back mostly. And even though Tony likes to have that stat that when he was in the team, we had a high win ratio.
yeah.
But on the ball, didn't rate Kivior playing at left back.
I think he only lost one
And do you remember,
game.
I used to come on here and say, like, he hasn't played in his real position yet. And he's it's not fair, is it? You play this position, but you're being judged now.
Yeah.
And then lo and behold, when you had no choice, he got played in that position, and it was seamless almost. He wasn't worried. We were looking at other places in the team. Meanwhile, he's doing the job. He's spraying balls around. That's what he sprays the ball. That shows confidence. And he's getting Man of the Match awards. So why would we sell him? We have to buy someone else. And what if that other person comes in and they have to take time to sell someone that's settled? We can now say to Kivior, you're going to get more minutes because we trust you more. And we want to rest Gabriel more.
And
So no one gets injured.
Yeah.
That should be the conversation. Listen, I trust you now. You've proven it to me. I don't need to run Gabriel into the ground. You're going to get more minutes.
And we need maybe only one more piece in this window. We have six players in the door now with Gyökeres.
We also
need
bought
only
another.
that.
We bought another striker, didn't we, from Salford? Some young kid.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Red John said,
Who's that? We bought another
heard a
striker.
rumor. Yeah. I heard a rumor about Newcastle selling Isak to Saudi, and Saudi club loaning Isak back.
And
that would be.
Have you heard the way that they've been talking about this Max Dowman?
Yes.
Apparently, I've not seen any of the friendly games or behind closed doors, but Simon Jordan, I'm listening to clips of TalkSport and they're going, this kid could be like basically, even though he's 15, they're basically saying he's 15 and he should be in the first team or on the bench.
I think that
is he that good? Is he that
yeah,
good?
Is
he that good?
Very similar to Odegaard. I think the BFG has done a great job with the academy. The BFG, if you know what I mean. We got a big F in German. He's done a really good job with the academy because this Max Dowman has come in and he looks like a very, very young.
He's a midfield.
Martin Odegaard. He looks like a very young.
But we don't do
Martin
this.
Odegaard.
He plays in the midfield, right? He plays in the midfield. We're 18 years old. If we had like a ravage of injuries in the first team and Mikel Merino was still standing, he's going to get in ahead of Max Dowman. You know why? Because he's Mikel Merino and he's experienced. He plays international football. This is what this is not me. This is what Mikel. This is how he thinks.
Yeah.
He would rather play Alexander Zinchenko there first for those reasons. He's not gonna. You know what I mean? It's not. We're not Everton. A team that's scratching to get around. We've got this young wonder kid called Max Rooney. So what have we got to lose? We'll play him. Max Dowman ain't getting in the first team at 15. Not happening.
There's a question.
He'd be lucky to be on the bench, right, for the fucking Carabao Cup.
Yeah.
Mikel Arteta is the sort of guy that will play someone out of position because of their experience.
What's the best thing for him? Maybe alone.
Head of Max. That's what he does.
Maybe alone.
Unless he changes that. This is his biggest criticism. If he changes that, great.
All right, Stan.
But the way that he does it, he don't do that.
Red John's got a question for you down there. Stan Fox or Lawrence?
Sam Fox.
You wouldn't kick her out for eating a bag of chips? Or
I may even go for Mrs. Slocum.
Is that the one from last summer wine?
Penelope Keith even.
Who was that from the last of summer wine?
Nora Batty.
Norabati. There you go. There you
Yeah.
go. Norabati. The match is on
They're all female.
AC Milan's YouTube channel for free, Stan. Yeah. So it was a good warm up game. It was a pretty strong team out. Bukayo Saka turns up with the goal, a finish from Kivior's cross, and somehow Arsenal won the game but lost it on penalties. I don't know how that worked. When
Yeah,
I checked the
why
score,
was there penalties? We won 1-0 and then it went to a penalty shootout. I kind of
yeah,
listening in, I was like, what exhibition
come
shit?
on, it was some weird British thing, Stan. You know, they say Americans mess things up too much. You know, but some weird.
During that World, I'll tell you something. That World Club Cup tournament, when I was watching clips of
Yeah.
that, or matches, when there was like a major foul and VI, sort of like VAR or whatever, they started doing what they do in like American football game. Referee spoke into a thing, and everyone in the I'm doing this because of this. Like,
Good.
is this going to be like is this coming to the Premier League?
Will they do it? You know they're always late to these kind of.
They were like, you know what I'm talking about, like what he was doing and why. And I was like, I've never seen this before in a fucking
Stan, we
football
never
game.
got that. Did we get that offside thing implemented at the end of last season? You know the.
They were piloting. They were in the championship, weren't they?
Okay. Hey, we're gonna wrap things up in a few minutes, unless you or Alonso have something to add to the conversation. And the missus doesn't have her food ready yet.
No, not yet. Almost.
You're looking over your shoulder anxiously tonight. But Alonso, good news with Gyökeres finally in the door. Listen, Newcastle's on Sunday. It may be a little bit too soon to see Gyökeres in Singapore playing against Newcastle, but it may be for the North London Derby that he turns up in Singapore.
Yeah, how fitting would it be if he scored? Yeah, I mean, I'm off Sunday, so maybe I'll watch.
You're
But yeah, I
available.
mean,
Are you available
yeah.
for a podcast on Sunday?
Yeah. Also, the England women's are on as well, so I'll be watching that anyway. Yeah, but I think that it's pretty exciting times to be an Arsenal fan. I think we're getting our players that we've needed for a long time, or needed to come to Arsenal, and I just can't wait till the season starts. I think there's a lot of players that need to prove themselves also. But yeah, I think the anticipation of the preseason warrants excitement, at least for me. I know there's a big time difference between Singapore and Texas, so. But yeah, I want to try to watch as many preseason games as I can.
Yeah.
Hopefully, Chris can play in those games. But yeah, I'm really excited and pumped up.
There's only going to be a handful of games, probably 4 or 5 games until we get to the Old Trafford game. On-field ref explaining is coming. I'd like to see Michael Oliver do that. That would be interesting indeed. Red John says, "Can you guys tell me the minimum expectation Arteta has to achieve to not getting sacked this season? FA Cup win, Premier League win, etc." It's hard to feel that he gets sacked if he comes second.
Let me see. What's the question? What's the
minimum expectation for him not to get sacked?
For him not to get sacked.
Top 4.
Again, it's like
set the bar low.
You have to put things into context, because I understand that my team's not going to win every game, every match for the whole season. So there's going to be losses, and for me, it's always about the manner of the loss. If you've tried everything that you can and you got beat by the better team on the day, do you know what I mean? So
I got a question for you then.
Do you know what I mean? We lose, we come second We come second again. But we've come second because we got to the final of the Champions League and lost 2-1. I mean, do you sack the man?
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm getting at? Or you finish second and you're like 15 points behind.
Will he get sacked?
Out of the and you get knocked out of the Champions League in the quarter.
Yeah. Will he get sacked if he doesn't?
Less than what he did last season, and you make a goof up of it in the cup games. There's context. Don't get that.
Yeah. Will he get sacked if he doesn't win a trophy?
Again, it depends on the context. What if you get league final
Or the Carabao Cup final,
and he
or the
loses
FA Cup final.
and he misses the league? He misses the league by 1 point. So I'm getting at.
Yeah. Yes, indeed.
It really does depend on the context.
Yeah.
We could be calling for his head before it even gets to the end.
Yeah.
Depending on what's going on, right?
Well, certainly.
It's hard. It's hard. So it's hard being a politician. It's like it can't. It's not just black and white where you go to win the league. It's got to go.
Well, certain sections of the fan,
it's not
certain sections of the fan base will say that, Stan. You know, certain sections of our fan base will say that.
If it's a case that, for me, it's more of a case like the players don't believe what's going in the plan.
Yeah.
They're not working for the manager, or the manager is constantly making really bad decisions. He's bought all of these supporting players. He's still making substitutions on the 85th minute. Important players are going out, which means that we're not getting full potential. Obviously, if we start seeing the manager making the same sort of, you're going to go, well, this guy ain't learning shit. He's got to go.
Yeah.
Because it's all well and good. Do you know what I mean? He's got all these backup players, which could be starters in other teams. He won't start them. You know what I mean? Like Zubamendi's got one leg that's working. It's like the 28th game in the season, and Zubamendi needs a rest. But you won't bring on Nordegaard. Why get him? Why did you do that? Why did you bring in this captain from another team if you're not going to trust him? But yeah, you'd be going like, get rid of this guy. He's inept.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous.
Yeah, I think we covered that.
Of course. What I'm saying is there's context, right?
Okay.
There's context. Yeah. He's some sort of untouchable. Not at all. Not at all. But at the end of this window, I'll have a score for you. When the window shuts, I go, this is who I am on the management. Yeah. It's going to really based on what we do.
For me, I think top 4 is the absolute minimum.
So far, I think the window's gone really well.
Keep the revenue. Absolutely.
But if that goes to Liverpool, the points get lost.
Oh, I know. Alonso,
points get lost for that.
What's your minimum expectation, Alonso?
Wow. For me, what he's done, I mean, he's stubborn at times, and that's what I can't stand about Arteta. Compared to our youngsters, he's not very adamant about playing them. He protects them too much. And, I've never once wanted him to leave. But I think whenever we reach Champions League football and you're quite successful, and he reaches the semifinal and finishes in second. And I know Gary had mentioned the draws, and half those would have been losses, half those would have been wins. But to me, I think this year will be very telling because, we bought a striker. We bought everything that he needed, right, to win the league. So again, they're one of the favorites to win the league. So they're Champions League football. If you come close this year, you got to make that leap to at least be finalists or at least win Champions League itself.
Yeah.
So to me, there's requirements, right? So you got to at least be far into both tournaments, the League Cup and FA Cup.
Yeah.
Come in at least top 4, and at least be in the semifinals or at least above that this
Right.
year, because
To
you
maintain.
know they gotta be all in, right? And you gotta have your players believe. You believed somewhat last year. Unfortunately, injuries happen. Those injuries, we didn't have a proper backup to Kai Havertz. We didn't have a proper backup to Bukayo Saka. We played Newori, and that was to me a bright spot. But Odegaard has to show up, man. Odegaard is part of this team. He's the captain.
Yeah.
I personally think that he kind of didn't exceed my expectations for him for the team. I think he kind of wasn't captain-esque towards the end, especially against PSG. And I think if you're Teddy, you have to motivate him, or at least give him not ultimatum, but give him a stance that look, if you're not going to perform in big games, they're always chasing you, pal. So you gotta you gotta perform, or have a youngster who's willing to step in for you and take the reins. So with all that said, I'm confident Arteta. I think he has to have a healthy squad, and like I said, it's second and win trophies. Simple as that, right?
Yeah. Thanks, Alonso. Red John said he can't agree with Stanley, right? But that's the beauty of being a fan, and having these discussions on podcasts.
But hold on, right? He also says that Ten Hag won more in a couple of years, yeah.
Yeah.
But you're telling me that the actual league, the performance, the way they've done their business, the shit players that they've got. So you have all of that, and be where they are now. Life is in the cabinet.
It's the
Mm.
thing.
No, not for me.
Yeah.
Not for me, because like we're improving. We're
We
getting out.
we were doing that
Now we actually.
10 years ago. We were winning
Last time
FA
it was.
Cups.
Last time it was the quarterfinals. Last season we improved on that. We got to the semi-finals. All right, but hopefully now with these extra pieces, maybe this season we get to a final.
Yeah. And look,
That's what
you
I'm
get
saying.
yourself a striker. You get yourself a monster, a striker, a Jokeres.
No,
He
I would
can
not.
do
I
the
would not
difference.
rather trade our standing right now with Man United with those 2 trophies. Because look at them, they're in the mud.
Yeah.
They won those 2 cups. That's like saying, "Oh, we'd rather be with Tottenham because they won that. They won that tin pot in the Europe as well."
They shift the
No.
goalpost then, because when you're winning FA Cups, Arsenal fans.
Yeah, but he says, but if Ten Hag had this team we'd have right now, but he doesn't, and he couldn't attract them players either. It tells you everything you need to know about the manager.
When you're
He didn't have that team, and he couldn't. And there were some players that he just couldn't even attract. Look at him now, where he's managing now, right? Where is he managing? Borussia Dortmund. He's at Borussia Dortmund, right? And they had like a pre-friendly with like the what was it? The 15 team, and they lost 5-1. Some shit like that. It was something really bad. That's what Ten Hag is doing now. They're having friendlies like with kids and losing 5-1.
Yeah, we were winning FA Cups 10 years ago. Arsenal fans were not happy with that. They wanted to challenge.
We're winning doubles. We've been doubles. We've done all that. We've got 14 FA Cups. I like to get to 15 because I like that number. But I mean, it's like we've done all right there.
Yeah. Listen.
But I will say one thing though. We should have rolled the dice harder last season to fight for the league, because even we've spent good money this season, and we've strengthened the bench, and we've got in a good number 9. It's going to be more difficult what we've improved on internally as a team to win the league, because of what some of the other teams have done as well.
Yeah,
it would have been easier last season, I think, to have spent a little bit more, got a little bit more quality, and we could have really had a go at it. But even though we've spent what we spent this season, some other teams around us have attracted some top talent as
It's
well.
crazy.
You know what I mean? It's going to be interesting.
All right, Stem. Had a good chat tonight with you and Alonso and Gary. Alonso, thanks for being here also.
Yeah,
We shall leave
Leverkusen.
it there. I think
Wait, I bet Leverkusen. Yeah, I'm drinking.
Stan's food. Yeah, Bayern Leverkusen.
A
I
German
think
team.
Stan's food
A
is
German
almost
team.
ready. I think.
Yeah.
It's crazy in the Premier League right now. All the teams are tooling up. Liverpool, Arsenal, Man City did a lot in January. We'll see what happens with Pep Guardiola
Chelsea.
and Rodri if he comes back. Chelsea are getting better. Newcastle should do everything to hold on to Isak, in my opinion.
I think Sunderland have come up and they spent 100 million.
Yeah. And Granit Xhaka coming back to the Premier League as well. You know? So listen, we'll leave it there. There's going to be a lot of meat on the bone for the rest of the season, but the preseason has begun, and there is going to be a game on Sunday as well with Newcastle. All right, great chat, gold, good show, everybody and everyone. Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Alonso. We're out of here. Take care.
Cheers. Good night.
Cheers.
See you guys.
Jokeres. Victor is here, and
Oh, yeah, brother.
the Hulkster. Rest in peace, along with Ozzy Osbourne and Malcolm Jamal Warner. Right.
Yes.
Take care.